No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Good morning.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's just not. And I want you all to know. I want you all to know. Stellar weekend. Wonderful, wonderful weekend this weekend. Enjoyed it tremendously. All right. Got to enjoy some great music. Got to play some great music. Got to spend some time with some of my best friends on the planet. Got to spend time with some of my family.
You sound like the God Pigeon.
Like the what?
The God Pigeon.
The God Pigeon?
Did you never watch Animaniacs?
Oh, that was a reference I was not prepared for this morning.
That's what you sound like.
I had a fantastic weekend. I got home yesterday. I sat in on the BetQL network for a show, had a fantastic show along with PJ Glasser, which I'll do again today. Actually, I'm on that network every single day this week from 3 to 7.
Even on the 4th?
Even on the 4th.
No vacation for Rob
Not
Brown.
one, because Rob Brown loves to grind.
I'm just trying to decide, should I match your voice?
No.
Because I'm usually the laid back one, but do I have to go a little bit further?
I got home last night, yesterday morning. I left Pensacola at 4:30 in the morning yesterday and was very happy to do it.
That's sleeping in for you. And I don't know why you're complaining. 4:30.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
It's probably a beautiful drive.
I'm trying to tell you why I'm quite upset right now.
You're wearing a killer shirt. That looks like a garden party shirt.
I know. What I would have preferred to
collar
wear,
flipped up in the back, probably not on purpose.
Why would you not tell me that before we started the stream?
Because I thought you did it on purpose.
Why would I do that on purpose?
Hey.
No. Just no. Left Pensacola at 4:30 in the morning. Had a fabulous drive back. No issues at all. No traffic. Just straight shot all the way home. Got home. Spent some time outside with the dog. Nice little sunny day, a little warm, but, she loves to lay out in the backyard. So I sat out in the chair, nice tall glass of water, just let the dog run, enjoyed myself, thinking this is going to be lovely. My fiance is going to get home from work. I'm going to get to spend some time with her. And then I'm going to sit down and watch football, soccer, for those of you that got real mad when I called it football. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch some soccer this evening. And I knew what I was in for, because I didn't give this take. I don't know if I gave this take on the air last week. I don't think I did.
You had a really long weekend, so there's a chance. I'll let you know if I was paying attention, and if
you weren't. If it was to this take, you weren't. But I did give this take on Bet for the Cycle on Saturday, and I gave this take yesterday on You Better You Bet on the BetQL network. And it is, and I mean this, the worst take I've ever given. I don't mean bad in terms of quality. I mean in terms of I felt physically ill when I gave this take.
So this is even worse than your defense of Bryce Young all last year.
No, because that take not only made sense.
Because I don't think it can get worse than that, but we'll see.
That take made all the sense in the world. You didn't like it, but it made all the sense in the world.
I don't think anyone liked it, and that's fine.
I'm not going down this road with you right now. We can come back to that, okay? Because you pretend like I'm the only one doing it, and I'm not. It's everybody but you. But we'll come back to it.
I've never heard anyone else do it but you.
That's a lie. We'll come back to it.
No, it's not.
Rashad Beard does it every week.
Yeah.
There's at least one other person.
No, he doesn't do it.
Yes, he does.
You. Not like you.
I'm not going down this road. I keep saying I'm not going to go down this road, and then I keep putting one foot ahead of the
I
other.
just want to point out that I am not trying to derail here.
Yeah, you are. You are.
I would never try to divert, derail, do
and I'm not
something.
going to let you. So instead, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. A take that it genuinely, not sarcastically, genuinely upset me to give over the weekend. I hoped we'd lose last night. I was actively
You did talk
rooting.
about that on our air.
Wonderful. Good.
Okay. Yes.
I was actively rooting against a team that I love yesterday.
We did like a couple segments on it. So, I mean,
Perfect.
You had a long weekend, though. So.
Good. Then you all know already.
And you're getting older. So, I mean, you forget things.
I was actively rooting. No, that's just because you said I'm getting older.
No, I was trying not to interrupt. I'm trying to sit back and let you do your thing. I am.
You're getting older.
Even though there could be
years old, sir.
Could be this thing where I'm like being a team player and knowing that your voice is ailing and just trying to get in there and help a little bit more. Maybe that's what I'm doing.
Oh, for the record.
Or maybe I'm making fun. I don't know. I don't know.
This is quiet mad, Rob. This is silent rage, Rob. Okay.
Seething.
But it doesn't make sense for me to be silent on the radio. So you get quiet, man. Whatever you just did to yourself, you might have deserved it. So I went into a match last night and I did not get one of the multiple Team USA jerseys or shirts that I own out of the closet, which I do on game days. Even if I'm not going anywhere, I put them on to sit on the couch, just like I do when my Saints play, just like I do when the Braves play. Any team that I love, if I'm staying at home to watch them, I still put on the shirt. Okay. I know it doesn't do anything. It doesn't send any vibes into the universe that change the game, but it makes me feel right. So did I go into the closet last night at 7 p.m.? Did I pull out one of the multitude of U.S. men's national team jerseys or shirts that I own? Did I don that attire to sit on the couch yesterday evening? No, I didn't. Instead, what I did was I went and I put on my pajama pants and I put on my pajama shirt and I put on my comfy slippers and I sat on the couch and I propped my feet up. I didn't even pour myself a drink last night. I wanted to. I wanted to. I probably should have. I probably needed it. But I said, no. You know what's going to happen here. And you know how it's going to happen. And you know exactly what's coming down the pipe. So use this as a wonderful opportunity to practice a little self-centeredness. Use this as a wonderful opportunity to practice keeping your chi aligned. I don't believe in any of that, but it was like, keep your chi aligned. Keep your focus.
For someone who doesn't believe, you got the hand motions down. I mean,
I'm an actor.
Okay, there we go. You can see his hand motions on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or X.
I said, don't go too far down the path to fear. Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to hatred. Hatred leads to the dark side. But also, don't go too down the path where you are pretending like you're an Uruguay fan. You're not. Just let it be what it is. You know what's about to happen. You know how it's going to happen. You know why it's happening. You accept that it's going to happen. Look at the flowers. Just look at the flowers. And that was going to be my goal. I was going to say, hey, let's pick out. So let's do this. Let's maybe try.
Look at the flowers is very famous from Walking Dead.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Okay.
I was saying it to myself.
Okay.
Look at the flowers, Rob.
Yeah, that's kind of fatalistic. I mean,
yes.
dude.
Yes. That is my entire position on U.S. soccer. It is fatalistic. It is existential. And I went into that game going, you just have to accept what is happening. Because it's not, there's nothing else that's going to happen. You know what this is. You know what's about to happen. Just let it be. Just let it be. So I did. I sat on the couch in my comfiest slippies, in my PJ pants, in my comfy t-shirt, and I leaned back and I sat there and I pet my dog on one side and my cat on the other. And I looked over at my gorgeous fiance reading her book. And I just said, just accept that there's a lot of good things going on in your life right now. Okay? Even if this thing that you love that's about to happen, you know is going to break your heart. And I sat there and I watched. And I even said to myself, hey, what if instead of worrying about the game overall, what if you try to pick out players who are standing out? Guys that are doing good things, guys that look like they're playing better. And there were a couple of them, to be honest. I think that Adams looked very good last night. I thought that overall, Jedi Robinson looked okay. Tim Ream looked very good. Joe Scally has showed me maybe he can be that guy. There were some guys that I thought actually looked okay. Not great. Nobody really stood out, but I thought they were fine. I thought they were fine. So I tried to dial in on that. And then I even had a source to direct my anger towards that didn't disgust me. It was one of the most poorly officiated games of any sport that I've ever seen. Forget the outcome. It was one of the worst. They made MLB umpires look good last night. It was so poorly officiated. I was able to dial the rage, concentrate the rage into how poorly. I just went, I don't care what teams are playing. This is a bleep job you're doing right now, red shirt guy. Just terrible job. So that was nice, somewhere to kind of put the anger that isn't towards my own team. And then Uruguay scored and they went up 1-0 and we lost the game just like I knew we were going to. Frankly, just like I had hoped that we want to. Why? That was...
Took me about 4 a.m. before I finally realized what they were saying.
Fire Greg, clap, 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 clap. As the team was leaving the field.
So that wasn't an AEW crowd.
No.
Because you'd have to bleep it.
As the team was leaving the field, and as Christian Pulisic was over on the side giving his response, and Greg was walking off the field, Greg was being audibly booed by the audience.
It's difficult to say right now. Obviously, the emotions are running high. So, we had a good start and brought a lot of energy, but at the end of the day, just not enough quality. And yeah, I felt like we gave it everything, but it just couldn't find the solutions to score.
I know it's short, but where do you guys go from here? What do you want to work on moving forward?
Now it's just about getting a little bit of rest and regrouping and finding an identity again. And we have some big things ahead, so we can look forward to that.
Thank you.
First half of that clip, you heard in the background Greg being booed by the American soccer fans as he left the pitch. And that wasn't even the reason that I pulled that clip. I pulled that clip because of what Pulisic said there at the very end. We have to regroup and find our identity again. Here's the problem. The word again is useless, Christian. It's useless because we don't have one. Our identity is mediocre soccer team that can't beat anybody elite and fights against other mediocre teams. And there's no need for it. There's no need for it. There's too much talent. Now, I promise you all that I'm not going to do 4 hours of U.S. soccer talk today, okay? I promise I'm not going to do it. I also do promise I'm going to do a couple segments of it. I do, because I'm not the only voice that has an issue right now. And frankly, because I'm just in this kind of mood today, if U.S. soccer isn't on your list of interesting topics, I don't care. I don't care. We host in 2 years, less than 2 years from today, the biggest sporting event on planet Earth. Period. Point blank. End of discussion. The biggest sporting event on planet Earth, and a sporting event I'm tired of being embarrassed in. It's in our house. It is what? No, stop it. I don't care, Lonzo. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if the boss doesn't like it. I don't care if the fans don't like it.
The boss is on vacation. That's why he's so, I don't care if the
Yeah, because he doesn't listen on vacation. He doesn't. I know that it may be a majority of people who don't care. I don't care that you don't care. I don't. Because this is something that I am very, very passionate about. Because I'm not saying you got to win every trophy. But for the love of the sports gods, be competitive. Have some pride. And right now, it just feels like we don't. It feels like the guys that are on this team want to be on this team so that they can hang out with their buddies. That's it. It feels like it's a chance to go hang out with the boys. You want to hang out with the boys? Go start an intramural squad. You want to hang out with the boys? Go start a band. Play some video games at night. Jump on FIFA on Xbox Live if you want to hang out with the boys. But when you pull on that crest, God, act like you care for a freaking minute. U.S. Soccer. Act like you give a damn for a minute. This crap would not fly anywhere else. And I'm not just talking about, oh, this wouldn't fly in Germany, this wouldn't fly in France, this wouldn't fly in England, this wouldn't fly in Italy, and it wouldn't. I'm not even saying that I need us to act like Germany, France, or Spain, or Italy. This wouldn't fly with the Kansas City Chiefs. It wouldn't fly with the Clemson Tigers. It wouldn't fly with the Atlanta Braves. It wouldn't fly with any of them. Every single one, if they were going through the bull crap that we are putting up with this team right now, would make every organizational change, administrative change, personnel change from the top to the bottom. And the only teams that wouldn't do it are the teams that we love to beat the hell out of for being absolutely abysmal organizations. Chicago White Sox. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to forever be a fan of a joke of an organization. And we're a joke of an international football team right now, and I'm tired of it. How bad do you have to be to have your fans root against you? How bad do you have to be to have a stadium full of people chanting, fire some guy? How bad do you have to be? How embarrassing do you have to be? And the answer is embarrassing as the U.S. men's national soccer team is right now. Now, I'm going to break these segments up because I'm a kind and benevolent sports talk radio host. So I'm not going to subject you to back-to-back soccer takes. But I am going to give you more later in the show. And I promise you, I'm really not in a bad mood. I'm just mad about this one particular thing. So when we come back, NBA free agency, we got to talk about that. Hornets involved in a sign and trade yesterday, some big names moving around. We'll talk some Major League Baseballs. The Braves about to set up a 3-gamer against the Giants at the house. All that. And we're going to hear about Lonzo's weekend this weekend because he did some big stuff this weekend. I assume. I wasn't here. He didn't have to put up with me. I assume he had a ball. We'll find out. It's Rob. It's Lonzo. It's you. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. Okay. I vented. We're good. Happy Monday, everybody.
I showed great restraint. There are several things that I could have done during that entire rant, but I did not. I just stayed over here. Because I want you to keep your voice. And if I say something, you're just going to get more mad, and then you're going to get louder, and you're going to lose your voice.
You know what's worst? I made lean turkey tacos for dinner last night.
Uh-huh.
But I decided to, I seasoned the turkey meat, and then I used red enchilada sauce to sauce it, because like enchilada sauce is just tomatoes, basically.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to figure out what that was, turkey. How that.
It was honestly, I've if you season turkey, you can give it enough of a ground beef taste that it's just fine. So then, as I finished it, I decided that I needed to try it to make sure I got the turkey right. And I got a blister literally right on the tip of my tongue because I got a piece of turkey that clearly was right on the bottom of the pan when I pulled it up. Attaboy. Attaboy. So every time I say a word that requires me to touch my tongue to the roof of my mouth, it hurts. It doesn't hurt. It's annoying.
Yeah, so I miss my mouth like you've never done it. Well, you shouldn't laugh whilst drinking your water because it causes it to spill. I'll tell you mine, Trey. It's fold. As in fold the team, and let's hear about a real sport. I do need a bib. Just call me Joe. Sorry, couldn't help it. I'm just a few steps away from the tapioca.
From a tapioca?
From the tapioca, from the kids having to feed me tapioca.
Oh.
I do tell them when I get a little bit older, I'm going to pretend like I've got something. Just so they can feed me and everything. And then when they leave the room, I'll go back to doing what I normally do until they come back. Although I watched the Gene Wilder documentary that people have been telling me about a bunch.
Ain't good.
Sad ending. I wasn't aware of what he actually died from. And that's why these jokes made me think of that.
He had Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah, he did. And to the point where they thought he was just joking.
Yeah.
And he wasn't.
I want to live a life that is so ridiculous and funny that something like that happens to me.
No, I would like to go peacefully in my sleep like 30 years from now. Yeah, just maybe 40.
I want to die doing something that is a story. Shark attack. Parachute doesn't open.
I don't want to talk about how I want to die because I don't.
I want to do something epic.
Have they? I've never heard a Gamecock fan say, I don't. I guess my circles are weird. Like doing like over a decade of a Gamecock show and never heard a Gamecock say that. But you know, again, what would I mean? Pretty big audience, but whatever.
The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the fan upstate. I'm not going to address it. I'm just going to read the text. Rob, maybe it just wasn't our day. Winning is hard. Yes, I'm aware of that texter, and more often than not, I'm very willing to say, hey, not every team can win every game. Problem was, we won one game, barely. Then we got smoked by a team that had no business beating us in Panama, and then we showed up last night and looked disconnected, disjointed, and disorganized, and it's just always this.
So out of all your teams, which one are you most disappointed in?
This one.
So
honestly,
not even the lackluster performance from the Saints for the last, I don't know, decade. That doesn't, I mean, you don't compare that with that. I mean, you can't throw the Braves in there because the Braves win. Maybe not in the playoffs, but they win. So, I mean, but still, I mean, so this is more disappointing to you than the Saints.
I think I can look at New Orleans and go, at least, well, maybe not this year, but I think I can look at New Orleans and go, at least they try stuff, right? Like, at least they try stuff. At least they're trying to make something. And now I will say this, if they do not gear, when we stink again this year, if we run it back with DA one more time, I will probably be this mad next year going into the season. Going into the season, though, and I do think there is something to be said for expectations, right? Like my expectations with New Orleans this year aren't that high. I'm going into the year going, we're 9-8.
So
we're a 500 ball club.
Had expectations for soccer.
I have had expectations for Team USA Soccer since the Pulisic golden era began. Yes, I
And
have
how
expectations.
annoying is something that is spread over years. Give me a season. Give me something that, lasts a season. When something's on the line, when every game matters in the season, not, oh, we lost, so 2 years from now we can't do something.
I am
That
going,
is stretching out your pain. And the fact that you have expectations for something that has never shown you any. When's the last time that they did well enough that you were like, yeah, you pumped your chest out and went, cool, I'm a
Any
fan of this
other
team.
Footballing country, serious footballing federation, Greg Berhalter's job would seriously be in jeopardy. But that won't be the case here. The most difficult decision was to bring Greg Berhalter back, and that's what they did. They're going to stick with Greg Berhalter. And listen, we hear about the golden generation, these players and where they play. We've heard that so many times. But under Greg Berhalter, this golden generation has not done anything that previous generations haven't done. In fact, the previous generations, going back to 2002, the World Cup, 2009, ending that 35-game, unbeaten streak to Spain, 2010, getting out of the group winning the group in the World Cup, 2013, winning Azteca. I could keep going on and on and on. These previous generations have signature wins. They have big moments. This golden generation under Greg Berhalter doesn't have one signature win.
there's my answer from Herculez Gomez. There's my answer. My answer is we have had some impact in the past, and we have had impact with rosters that are theoretically less talented, on paper less talented.
What does impact mean? What does we had impact?
Impact for me, I'll give you the example that jumped to the top of my head. A number of years ago in the World Cup, there was a team that included Landon Donovan, Howard Furman's own Clint Dempsey, who we will hear from coming up later. By the way, this is a response segment from Rob, just so we're clear. Impact was that a number of years ago, and this is going to be one of those times where I say respectfully, I don't care if you didn't see it, I did. I'm using the royal you here.
So I don't care that you don't care that I didn't see it.
After a World Cup run where the Americans went in with a team that was expected to be okay, but they made a run into the knockout and then they gained through the knockout phase, soccer in this country was reaching, I'm not going to say fever pitch like everybody in the world was on it, but I was watching, you know what I would compare it to? I would compare it to what the WNBA has going on right now. Is it everywhere? No, not really. Is it doing enough that little stations around America can justify
you
doing
should not
hours?
compare it to this because WNBA is more popular than soccer right now.
It's absolutely
and
not.
more popular than soccer has been for years.
It's absolutely not.
Without a doubt.
No, it's not.
It's everywhere. It's being talked about and people are into it. We'll see if that lasts or not. I don't think it will, but I hope I'm wrong for that league. But as far as that goes, WNBA hands down more popular than soccer right now.
It's absolutely not. And it is one of the few times that I'm going to say that you're being one of
The haters.
man.
No, I'm being realistic. You're letting your love for a sport cloud what you see on TV all the time.
Okay. Last week when the U.S. played when the U.S. played Bolivia, I went to a bar that's like out there a little bit, not like downtown Greenville, like out, like you got to intentionally drive out that way.
So you had to find a place that was watching soccer. So you had to go way out of the way to find it. That's what
because I could have gone downtown to
that's
three
a picture
different.
you're painting. I'm just saying.
Well, I have a point. The point here is I could have gone to the 3 soccer bars that are downtown, but I went out in the sticks because I wanted to go watch with a couple of the fellas, and I frankly didn't want to be around a giant crowd. So we picked a bar out in the sticks, and I drove out in the sticks because I wanted to dial in and watch the game because it was a game that I wanted to be able to provide some analysis on, not just go, yay, soccer, as I can do. And I drove out to a bar that had a seating capacity of about 300 people, and there were about 200 people in there specifically for the football contest. I'll tell you this. I promise you I've watched more WNBA than you have. I promise you. I promise
I'm
you.
counting the ceiling tiles right now.
I'll promise you that I have watched more WNBA than anybody on the stream, with maybe the exception of Keegan. Okay. And I have not yet gone to a bar on a WNBA game night, even on a Caitlin Clark v. Angel Reese night, and seen a crowd gathered for it. Okay. I'm a WNBA supporter. I'm a guy that has talked about it on the radio, probably to my own detriment.
You are slamming the WNBA right now and putting soccer above it.
No. See, you do this thing. It is probably the most frustrating thing that has caused the most fights between us, where you decide if you say nice thing about A, it means that you're pooping on B. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I can say that this thing is here and that also this thing is here. But I am telling you.
Your hands were not even. You know that.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But that means it's not down here. It means it's up here. It's dramatic acting for the stream. The point here is that when you asked me a little while ago, what is impact? Impact is, are you getting people excited and wanting to jump in? I will tell you right now, I cannot win fans over to U.S. soccer right now. I can't do it. I can't. I desperately need the U.S. women to make an Olympic run. I desperately need it.
I am Diesel right now. So how Diesel gets when we talk wrestling,
The haters.
that's me because I don't get the passion about something that takes a couple years. So you are dooming yourself to a couple years of disappointment.
No,
I would find something else and move on.
No, I'm not. I don't care. Again, I don't care. I am going to go full heel turn today.
But you
full
are.
heel turn.
You are.
No. When have
you not been disappointed?
What I am saying is, I don't care how you or anybody else feel about it. I don't. Call in and tell me, Rob, nobody cares. Shut up. No. Tell me you should find a new hobby. No. Tell me, Rob, you're asinine for thinking this is ever going to get better. I literally had another host tell me that on nationally syndicated radio last week, someone that I love, Trista Crick, and I told her, no. Little tree.
She's right, though. I mean, so your entire life you've been rooting for something that's never even come close to doing anything.
No, they have. Here's the problem. It is set up right now, and I can see it. And this may be a revelation to some of you. I know ball. All I do is know ball for a living. I get called on the national radio shows to know ball. My interview last Thursday, when I was driving down to Florida, I pulled over on the side of the road in Florala, Alabama, to do an interview that I was not scheduled for because they said, we need a soccer guy on here. Call Rob Brown.
I am the hype.
I like that. I am the hype. I know ball. Okay. And I am telling you, looking at this roster, this is as set up to compete as we've ever been. And see, here's the problem when I say impact. I'm not just talking about bringing in new fans, which, yes, I absolutely want to do. I want people to continue to get excited. And I'm not even talking about, I'm going to say the weirdest thing I've ever said on the radio. I don't care if you like soccer. I don't. I don't care if Lonzo likes soccer. I don't care if Bob from Bob's Used Cars likes soccer. I don't care if any of you like soccer. I care that your kids like soccer. I care that the teenagers out there like soccer, that the middle schoolers out there like soccer, and that the dogma that soccer's for girls, soccer's for people who can't play football. Yuck.
I've never heard it. I've never heard any of that stuff. I will say that
I grew up with it.
Okay, well, you lived in a different place and you're not there anymore. The thing is, I've heard the thing that you're saying now because I'm older forever.
No, you haven't.
Yes,
No, you haven't.
yes, I have.
No, you have
Yes,
not.
I have on these airwaves from other hosts that were here before you. Generations have gone by, and that your kids thing hasn't happened yet. And the next generation will say the same thing. We're not a soccer country. We're not going to be. It's okay. Not everybody has to be into the thing that you're into. But we're not a soccer country. You keep pushing, thinking it's going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Soccer has been on an upward trend in this country in terms of both popularity and participation dating back to the year 2000. And I can point that out just based on the number of kids who not just play, but continue playing past the point where that curve used to fall off in the United States. This is not a subjective argument. This is an objective, verifiable, empirical fact that the popularity of the sport is growing. It's not debatable. It's not like a if X then Y. It is just a provable fact. The problem is that in order to continue that, it's got to be a sport we're good at. And we're wasting an opportunity. And I don't care. I don't care if 95% of this state is going, this guy's a bleep hole right now. I don't care because I'm right. And I know I'm right because I know ball. The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. Lonzo got aggressive there. I like it.
So if you were
Let's have
me,
a day,
wouldn't you
boys.
take advantage of the fact that I can out yell him today if I want to?
Give it your best. I will lay down my voice's life today for this. I might be taking off tomorrow, but I'll go at it today.
This is one of those things
Actually,
that
if I take a sick day, I call you this week, right?
no.
You're the boss this
Remember, we
week.
were wrong. I read the email wrong. I'm not. The power is. So you have to talk to him.
Which the power? The primary power?
No,
Or the secondary power?
No, there's only one. The power that emerges when someone's not here.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
It's not wrestling, it's wrestling. That is correct, Kyle. In fact, if I type wrestling in my phone, it autocorrects to wrestling with the apostrophe at the end.
It's because you have that weird phone. That's
That's intuitive and it
that's-
knows it's wrestling.
That's
Highly intuitive
Is
and
that-
has slide to text.
is that what it is?
Yes.
I'm really disappointed because I wanted to hear all about the weekend, and all we're hearing about is a niche sport and how bad they are.
Right here in the Great Smoky Mountains, next to the Tuckasegee River, we have the perfect place to grow our produce. If you want the best local quality, you cannot do better than me.
Summer, what's not to love? Well, maybe not the scorching temperatures. Every day can't be 75 degrees with a breeze, so I went to cold.
Today, I officially cement myself as the greatest Mysterio of all time.
He did the best 619 I've ever seen him do in his career.
He's
was-
getting better as a
No, it
wrestler.
was- it
like
was-
as an actual in-ring
It was
wrestler.
against his dad, but it
Yeah.
was fast. It didn't look slow and lumbering. And camera angle may have had something to do with it because camera angle was down and like to the right,
Yeah.
which made it
Which
look.
is always the way it
Yeah,
needs to be
yeah.
for that move.
And yes, I went to wrestling to just because.
I'm not mad at you. I
No,
just think you're
I went to
wrong.
wrestling because I haven't talked to you about wrestling in
That's
a few
also
days.
true. We haven't taught wrestling since last Thursday.
Look at your cup holder.
NBA free agency underway. Got a lot of moves that got made over the last couple of days. One of them, Jason Tatum is going to be staying with the Boston Celtics. Not just staying with the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum has just received the highest contract in the history of the National Basketball Association. That is one thing in and of itself. My man got himself a Supermax extension for $315 million over 5 years that will run through the end of the 2029-2030 season. That was reported yesterday by The Athletic. It supersedes the last highest contract ever paid in the NBA, which was signed a $304 million contract for Jaylen Brown. The top two contracts in the NBA now both belong to the Boston Celtics. And by in the NBA, I mean ever in the NBA, both belong to the Boston Celtics. I sat yesterday, I was on with PJ Glasser and BetQL, and we were kind of keeping up with, because a lot of these stories were breaking yesterday while we were on the air. And we were talking about Philly. Philly got themselves a couple of players. They re-signed the the max contract to bring back Maxey. They, of course, added Paul George, who comes over from the LA Clippers. And it's interesting. We talked about the Knicks. They lose Isaiah Hartenstein, but as we've discussed, they have effectively brought together the entire Villanova National Championship college team in the NBA. So, chemistry is not going to be an issue for that team. It's very interesting, the developments in the East. And I don't think any of it matters. Tatum is locked in. Jaylen Brown is locked in. And, oh, by the way, Derek White got himself fat stacks yesterday, too. 4-year, $125.9 million extension yesterday. And everybody else on that squad is pretty much locked in at this point. There will be very, very little, aside from a role player or two, very, very little that changes about the Boston Celtics going into next year. I asked PJ Glasser, I'll ask Alonzo the same question after what we saw the Boston Celtics do. And we could sit here and we will. We will talk about the fact that they didn't have a Jimmy Butler in Miami. Boston waxed them. You lost Tyrese Halliburton against Indiana. Boston waxed them. Like, Boston played Donovan Mitchell for Cleveland, went down. Boston waxed them. And then they went up against Dallas. And on one hand, Dallas did have a full complement of players. On the other hand, Luka Doncic was pretty banged up because my man just ran through brick walls in the playoffs. But Boston waxed them. There was no competition for the Boston Celtics. Would it have been different if Denver made it? Would it have been different if OKC made it? I don't know. I don't care. They didn't make it. And because they didn't make it, all we know is that the Boston Celtics played 4 teams and they beat the hell out of all 4 of them. Wasn't anybody close. Here's my question mark. We got some changes in Philly. We got some changes in New York. Can anybody compete with Boston next year? Or is the East a foregone conclusion? Because this is, of all the teams, the only team in the last few years that has made me feel like it is a foregone conclusion that this team will be playing for a title next year is your Chiefs. And that was like 3 or 4 years ago.
So the East is no one in the East is going to compete. It's up to the West to find a team. And moves are made. You even talked about Dallas. Dallas made a pretty big move.
Yep.
Even though it may be the end of someone's career with Clay coming in, or maybe he rejuvenates, being around a couple other guys that are facilitators. And I don't know. I think it's up to the West. I really do.
I can't disagree. The Knicks are the Nova Knicks now. That's interesting. The Milwaukee Bucks, I think they had their run, and to keep it a buck with you, I didn't intend for that to be as stupid as it was, but here we are, 6:45 in the morning.
It works better with emotions. If you're not watching on the stream, you should.
To keep it a buck. Oh, that was bad, dude. That was bad. I don't like me today. Milwaukee, I mean, is Milwaukee back to being a threat last year with the
You spend
instability?
time with like old people on the beach in Florida, and now you're coming back with their mannerisms. Is that what you're doing? I'm not talking about your family. I'm just talking about being out there on
That's
the beach.
a Florida
with,
shirt, isn't it?
I don't know. Still never been to Florida, but I'm from things I've seen on TV. Yes.
Just think stereotypes. Old people in Miami.
Well,
It's a good
that's
shirt.
that's what I was talking
Yeah.
about in the first place because I haven't been there, so I don't know if there really are a bunch of old people. I do know that.
Not where I'm from.
Okay.
Not
All
where
right.
I'm from. Dame Lillard, Pat Beverly.
When I retire, I'm moving there, so there'll be some old people there.
Chris, you're moving to my neck of the woods. You feel good about it. It's a lot of woods in my neck of the woods. You'd fit right in. You get the beach, but you could still have a compound. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brooke Lopez, depending on the moves that they make. Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder, Deion Wright, Malik Beasley, Bobby Portis coming off the bench. Like it's an okay team. Is Milwaukee going to compete with Boston? I don't think so. Even with the healthy Spida, I don't think Cavs are in the mix. I'll tell you, I like the Magic. If there's a surprise team next year, it might be the Magic now that they've got a year of experience under a very young belt. The Pacers, kind of the same thing, right? Year of experience under a very good lineup. But are any of them in the same stratosphere as Boston, considering not just Boston holds the two richest contracts in the NBA right now, not just that those contracts are to the NBA Finals MVP and probably the overall playoffs MVP in Tatum and Brown. Not just do they have those cats. Now, Porzingis is a question mark, right? Because he has a rare leg injury that we still don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's been explained. It's you need to look it up. It's muscle coming off of bone in a weird way. Yeah, I can't describe it accurately, but after it happened, they did come out and say what it was.
Okay, I may have just, let's see, a torn retinaculum and a dislocated posterior tibialis tendon.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of those words means, but they sound awful.
You expect me to remember all that? And
yeah, come
and
on,
there's
Doc.
actually, if you look at the description, it talks about how rare it is that it did what it did because it shouldn't have. So
Oh, God, now I got to read about this during the break. I don't like that at all. Anyway, he's expected to be out up to 6 months, which would, because the NBA offseason, this is true, 4 weeks long. He's expected to miss a good chunk of the beginning of next year. And from what I have read, Dr. Lonzo over there, I'm the doctor of love. Lonzo's an actual doctor. Hashtag not really. But it's expected he's going to miss some time early in the season.
Radio, man. I mean, come on.
Song's not as catchy, but it is more important. They may be missing
Lonzo,
the
the radio doc.
the doctor of there's an alliterative word here somewhere. We got to find it. Anyway, the point is he's going to be missing some time into the regular season. Is it enough for somebody else to build a pillow up on Boston that, maybe Boston's got to play some catch up? They're not the 1 seed. Maybe they get knocked down the bracket a little bit. They got a little bit tougher road to the finals. I don't know. But as I look up and down the East, even after the first day and a half of free agency, Boston's going to kick everybody's rear ends again next year, right? The Pistons stink. The Wizards stink. I'm cautiously optimistic that the Hornets will be better. Obviously, nowhere near competing. The Raptors stink. The Nets have decided to intentionally implode. The Nets, who won 32 games this year. I'm not kidding when I say I don't think they're going to win 15 games next year. Just like the Pistons this year. They're not going to win 15 games. The Hawks, they just got rid of DeJounte Murray. He goes down to New Orleans. They got some picks for him. And they got, who was it? A couple of role players, good role players. Larry Nance Jr. and who was it? Dyson, the other one? I think Dyson Daniels, the other one. Hawks didn't get better. They got deeper, but they didn't get better. The Bulls, the Heat. Like, you guys realize Heat culture is just Jimmy Butler doing Jimmy Butler things, right? That's Heat culture. Jimmy Butler doing Jimmy Butler things. I don't know how I feel about them. So the 76ers make a big move. Good move. Good move. Adding Paul George. I'll tell you why I love this move. This is how I explained it yesterday. Who's the biggest piece for the 76ers right now? Joel Embiid. What's been the problem with Joel Embiid the last couple of years? My guy puts together MVP caliber seasons, but much like Zion Williamson, he can't stay healthy long enough for it to matter, right? Can't stay long enough to matter in the Bigs. What is adding Paul George, who is a winger, who is a guy who plays his basketball from the wing in? What does Paul George do? Stretches the defense out. Now you got options, right? Maxey runs it to the right, George in the corner, Joel Embiid down low, and I'm legitimately running the Phil Jackson triangle offense. That's my entire identity for the Sixers next year. I'm running George to the wing, Maxey off the point, and Embiid on the block. And then I'm letting defenses pick who it is that they're going to lock down. And my goal here is to take the pressure off of Joel Embiid. Being able to protect injury-prone players from injury is, to me, one of the most important things a good GM does. We talked about Zion. Yeah, he got banged up right before the playoffs last year, but it wasn't like the consistent injury that he's dealt with in the past. What did New Orleans do? They built a team around Zion that allowed Zion to play a power forward, not a big man, and took the pressure off. Aaron Judge with the Yankees, a guy that's been missing weeks and weeks and weeks out of every season. What did they do? They went and got Juan Soto, stuck him in the lineup right behind Aaron Judge, took the pressure off of Aaron Judge. So when Aaron Judge starts to feel that body getting a little out of line, when his chi comes off center, they can sit Aaron Judge for a day. Go take a break. Go take a breather, bud. Hit the ice bath for a minute. We'll get you back in the lineup tomorrow. It's taking the pressure off of Aaron Judge. What is Aaron Judge doing? Oh, just leading Major League Baseball in home runs again, right? Taking the pressure off of an injury-prone superstar is one of the most important things a GM can do. And this move does that for Philly. You got Oubre Jr. on one side who can be your shooter. Paul George on the wing as your shooting forward. I think they need to upgrade the 2 spot. Got to go get a better shooting guard somewhere. You got Maxey on the point. It forces a defense away from Joel Embiid. Now Joel can play a lot more one-on-one basketball instead of having to run through 2 brick walls to get to the rim. I actually really like the move for the 76ers, but I think they're not done if they want to compete with Boston. The Cavs, the Bucks, the Knicks we talked about. I like this move for the Philadelphia 76ers. However, it does not put them in league with the Boston Celtics. Not even close. Not yet. Going into next year, with Tatum locked down, with Brown locked down, with White locked down, with Porzingis locked down, assuming that his knee / anterior tibialis fibricular degenerative bone tendon doesn't pop on him again. I think I nailed that. I think I got pretty close on that.
Yeah, that last part sounded a little Croatian, but it could be a Croatian kind of injury. Yeah.
So it's a little weird, but I think I nailed it. Don't double check me. I feel like I got it. As long as that injury allows him to come back and not hamper him for the rest of his career, you got Porzingis locked up. The Celtics are running it back next year. And a lot of times I'd say, yeah, but everybody's got tape on them now. My man, that's the NBA season. There were 82 games of tape on them last year. You're not going to the playoffs catching anybody by surprise. And if it was because you saved up so much in the regular season that you never had to get to plans. And by the way, did anybody do the about face in their role better than Joe Mazzulla did? Came into the playoffs, I was like, Joe Mazzulla's going to hold his team back. Joe Mazzulla made Jason Kidd look silly in the finals. I mean, made him look silly. They're running it back. Good luck. I enjoy the NBA free agency period. Nobody caught Boston. Out of the West either. Nobody caught Boston. Not yet. All right, we'll talk more NBA free agency later on in the radio broadcast. I am absolutely coming back to soccer. I have plenty more to say. Like, for instance, we'll see how that plays out. Lonzo yelled at me earlier. He was all about it. Let's see if he can tone back the emotion, if he can roll it back and be the outstanding news desk anchor that he is with this sports flash.
Didn't yell at him. I showed what it's like to be the number one morning
good,
show in the state of South Carolina. Maybe. The Atlanta Braves start a 3-game set today from San Francisco Giants after taking 2 of 3 from the Pittsburgh Pirates at home, including a win over potential NL Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens. Ronaldo Lopez will get the start, looking for his 7th win over the year opposite Hayden Birdsong, who has started just 1 game this season. First pitch is at 7:20 this evening in Atlanta. The United States men's soccer team was bounced from the Copa America following a 1-0 loss to Uruguay powerhouse last night. A very controversial set of officiating decisions didn't help the Americans, who allowed Uruguay a dozen shots on goal, including the one that would be the game winner. Tune in this afternoon, 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel, 3 to 7. Wow, some editing there, Roger.
I was really glad to find that QC Kinetics offers weight loss now because it really helped me in my journey to get to the size that I wanted to be.
That's Katie, who because of a foot injury couldn't exercise, but needed to lose weight to fit into her wedding dress. QC Kinetics medical professionals showed her how semaglutide injections could help.
I lost the first 15 probably in the first 2 weeks.
The QC Kinetics weight loss protocol is a comprehensive plan with in-clinic supervision and personalized care, along with semaglutide and tirzepatide, next generation weight loss options.
I would definitely tell my family and friends, if you are struggling with losing weight, this is definitely the way to go to help.
Someone who has repeatedly gotten mad at other people for being loud has their door open.
Yeah, it's really warming her.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is there one of the ones that's having issues?
Yeah.
Checks out. Then
Yeah.
forgiven.
Yeah, I made the mistake of bringing Chris into the office yesterday, and she come over and asked if we close the door because Chris, like you, has no lower voice. Right now you do because you don't have a voice, but you don't have to project all the time. You don't. When you're like just a couple feet away from someone, you don't have to project. I mean, you can just talk in your, I guess when projection is your normal voice.
So Saturday, which was the night I was going to go live, I handed my phone to a friend of mine, set everything up to go live, handed my phone to a friend, and I was like, yo, can you go live for me and just do like 4 or 5 songs, right? And we were shredding Saturday. We were on a flow Saturday. 5 or 6 songs. My buddy brings my phone back up to the stage. He's like, all right, man. And I look at it, never push go live. Never push go live. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm disappointed. I wouldn't have watched it till later because I was very upset Saturday night. But I would have watched it on Sunday. I told you the problems that we had.
About that.
so-
Yeah.
Don't say that, Steven. There's a level of rock hype that I've been given as far as how Rob acts at a show, and I'm looking forward to seeing if it's hype or if it's real. I've seen how hype he gets at a wrestling event, but I've never seen him at a concert. And
I don't sound like this because of the singing.
You were singing AC/DC. I knew you wouldn't have
I
a
did sing
voice.
AC/DC.
Yeah,
And frankly, I nailed it.
of course you did.
I nailed it.
But you haven't been on stage in a while, so you were going to give it a little extra. So I'm still shocked you have
I
any
did.
voice at all. But it is a couple days later too.
Right.
Did you do it on every set or just Friday?
No, Saturday was the main day.
Okay.
Friday we ended up playing 45 minutes.
Oh, you took 45. They gave you 30. You took 45.
No,
That's rock and roll,
they
dude.
they expanded us to 40, and then we went 5 over because we had one song that we really wanted to play. And we were like, we all looked at each other like, don't say anything, just start playing it. So we did. So like, what are they going to crank the generator off?
Exactly what I just said. You
Yeah.
took an extra.
Yeah, that's fair. We took an extra 5.
Hey, I've done that before. I mean, you know, what are they going to do? New life in the next break.
Here we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Radio program is underway. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, and the ones and twos. Very animated first hour of the show. Every hour is animated on this show. It's kind of our thing. All right. We're audio Red Bull. It's all we've ever been. That's why they put us in the morning. Try to wake up the upstate, baby. And I didn't want to do that cliche like, good morning, upstate. Everyone grab your coffee. Nah. Turn it up. Let's get loud.
By the way, really quick, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. And if you're commenting on our personal pages, we don't see those. So you need to comment on the fan pages or, like that.
Yeah, the smart thing for us to do is to stop putting it on our personal pages, to be honest, and make people come over.
Well, there are some people, like family members who watch.
Yeah.
Would never be able to figure out to get somewhere else. I'm just being, because they're older, and it's not. I mean,
I appreciate the honesty.
not everyone. I mean, the fact that they grasp it enough to hit like, I'm happy about that. That's awesome.
We are streaming live, Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, The Fan Upstate, or The Rob Brown Show on YouTube and The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. If you'd like to join in on the stream, we are live every day that we do a show, which this week is today and tomorrow. Off Thursday for the 4th. We will return on Friday, then off on Saturday and Sunday. We'll also let you know as we get ever closer to it that on Monday the 22nd, we'll be live in Charlotte, North Carolina from ACC Media Days. On Tuesday, the 23rd, we will be live from Charlotte, North Carolina for ACC Media Days. We will be off on Wednesday, the 24th. Why? Because Rob and Lonzo have a previous engagement. We're going to see Creed Tuesday night, and we will both be recovering on Wednesday for very different reasons, but recovering nonetheless on Wednesday morning. We will return to ACC Media Days on Thursday, July 25th. That is the day that Dabo and the Tigers will do their ACC car wash. So I will also tell you that, and this is going to be kind of interesting, I will also tell you that the player and coach interviews all start at 10 o'clock every day. So what you'll have is Monday morning, a regular show. We'll get all the interviews and everything. I think Florida State goes on day 1. I think North Carolina's day 1 as well. So we will get all those schools on then. Then on Tuesday, we'll play you back Monday's interviews. We'll be off on Wednesday. So on Thursday, we'll play you back Tuesday's interviews, as well as whatever Cole and Diesel get on Wednesday afternoon, as they will be broadcasting live from ACC Media Days on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We will be there Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. As Media Days wraps up about 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon. We will have all the Dabo stuff, and then we will run that back for you on Friday. So there is your schedule for ACC Media Days, just so you're aware. Everything should be the same. We'll be on in the same time slot. We will have the stream up and running live from ACC Media Days. So still going to be here, still going to be doing the show. Just going to let you know it's going to sound a little bit different than normal, as we will be live on remote and location up in Charlotte, North Carolina, again for ACC Media Days, July 22nd, 23rd, 25th for us. Diesel and Cole, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. They'll be back here on the 25th as Media Days will conclude before Wire to Wire goes live at 3 p.m. So there's your heads up for that week, just so you know where you are and you are set. It is 7:04 in the morning. You've got just a few more minutes before you got to get to the office. You got to get locked in and clocked in. You got to start talking to the boss. You got to start talking to that one coworker that you do not like. Jim. It's always Jim. Jim down the hallway is always playing pranks and stuff, but like they're not really that funny. You know what I mean? Like that one time that he went out there into the parking lot and he like left a rubber duck on your hood. Oh, I got you. It's not funny, Jim. It's not. So you're going to ignore Jim. You're going to walk down the hallway and you're going to go talk to Mikey. Mikey's a cool guy. You know how you know he's cool? Because he goes by Mikey. Mikey is always cool. And you're going to talk sports with Mikey. Mikey's your dog. He's your guy. He's your guy you talk sports with. And if you're going to talk sports with Mikey and the rest of the gang, you got to know what's going on. And if you got to know what's going on, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"Shut the hell up,"
even before they take their first bathroom break.
No. Here we go.
Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few people that have said that so far this morning. That's okay. That's okay. Not everything's for everybody. We do a little something for everybody. All right. It's Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this AM and start talking sports with your coworkers. If you're going to do it, you got to know what's going on. Away we go. Let's get to item number 1. The United States men's national team had high expectations for their performance in Copa America. And they did not reach anywhere close to them. They won the first game against Bolivia, a team that was well outgunned and outmatched 2-0. They turned around and dropped a decision 2-1 to Panama. That meant last night when they took on the best team in the group, Uruguay, they needed a win. They needed not just a win, but they had to outperform whatever Panama did against Bolivia, the worst team in the group. They did not. 1-0 in favor of the South American side last night. It crashes the United States out of the group stage. It prevents them from moving on to the knockout round, and the Americans, who came in at least expecting to escape the group, fall short of what I don't think is an unrealistic expectation. Not goal, expectation. Your goal should be higher than your expectations. Mine were. We did not get to even the expectation level. Forget the goal level. It was poor. It was poor. That's all there is to it. It was poor. Matias Oliveira knocked through a 66th minute goal for the Uruguayans. The Americans had opportunities scattered throughout this game. And I will say that the officiating in this game was butt. It was bad. It was cheeks, as the kids say. It was awful. It was atrocious. It was embarrassing. In fact, I said last night after that match was over, the man who refereed that game last night should never see another pitch. He was that embarrassing, okay? He made Angel Hernandez look competent. That's how bad this guy was at his job. Still, the Uruguayans played on the same pitch with the same referee, and they figured out a way to finish. The Americans did not. So they finish Copa America with 1 win, 0 draws, and 2 losses, a grand total of 3 points. Panama got the win over Bolivia and the win over the United States. They become group runner-up with 6 points. Uruguay goes 3-0 in the group stage. They collect all available 9 points. They will win and take on the runner-up team out of Group D that will be decided this evening, whereas the Uruguayans will get the winner of Group D, which will be decided this evening. I got a lot more to say about Greg, but so does Carly Lloyd, so does Alexi Lawless, and so does Furman's own Clint Dempsey, who did not hold back last night. And we will hear from all of them coming up a bit later on in the radio program. It was disappointing. It was frankly embarrassing. There's no excuse for it. And yes, I understand that he's a human being with feelings and a family. I do not give a damn. You have a job to do, Greg Berhalter, and you did not do it. You have continued to not do it. You have continued to fail at the 2 or 3 expectations we've had and get us embarrassed. We were hosting this event. We just let a bunch of people walk into our own house, slap us in the mouth, and we did nothing about it. I have a problem with it, and we'll talk about it more later on in the program. But the Americans out of Copa America, they do not advance out of the group stage. And there are now some very difficult discussions. They should not be difficult discussions. Greg, you've had a chance. You've been in this role for, 8 years now? 8 years you've been in this role, and we have not improved. We have no signature wins. We have a couple of Gold Cup wins, which, by the way, at a point in time where Mexico is the worst they've ever been at this sport. So really the best. And by the way, Canada got out of their group stage. Canada, America's hat, the land of mooses and snow. They got out of their group. So the Mexicans are the worst they've ever been. Canada outpaced us. Yeah, it's not a difficult discussion. Greg's got to go, and somebody needs to be brought in that at least understands how to run with the talent you have, all right? At least give us a chance at this point. At least give us a chance. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. Let's get to item number 2. Tracking NBA free agency. We talked a little earlier about it. Jason Tatum has signed the most lucrative extension in the history of the NBA. My man's making north of $350 million over the next 3 years. It only outpaces the next highest, which is Jaylen Brown, who signed his last year. Now the Boston Celtics have the 2 richest contracts in NBA history, both on the roster. Remember when everybody said that this team couldn't win without Marcus Smart? Oops, blew that one, because Boston's going to run it back next year. Mo Bamba has signed on with the Clippers. The 7-footer averaged 4.5 points and 4.2 boards off the bench last season with the 76ers, where he played behind Joel Embiid. He may get the opportunity to start. Klay Thompson is out at Golden State. That saga has concluded. He makes his way down to be the third in the big 3 for the Dallas Mavericks. Will he rejoin Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving? Will it matter? I can't say no. But I do think, right, when a lot of people forgot that Klay got benched this year. Like, for a long stretch of time, Klay Thompson was a, mildly effective bench role player, not a starter. He's not the same cat that he was during the dynasty run a few years back. Is he still good enough to help pull the pressure off of Kyrie? Sure. Is it enough for me to believe that the Dallas Mavericks are now ready to win an NBA Finals? I don't think so.
We talked the entire series about how Dallas is like one player away. So you don't think Klay's that guy?
I don't think Klay's that guy. I don't. If Klay was that guy, he wouldn't have got his ass benched in Golden State. That was a power forward that they needed in that rotation, and he wasn't the guy there. Why is he suddenly going to be the guy when there's more pressure?
He was injured a bunch, and then there's also the fact that maybe he wasn't happy. I mean, and change of scenery sometimes just makes you remember who you are, and maybe he will when he gets to Dallas.
It's fair. It's fair. Maybe there is a renaissance coming for Klay Thompson. We will find out. Jason Tatum, we mentioned him, got the contract. Aaron Holiday staying with the Rockets. DeAnthony Melton will sign a 1-year, $12.8 million deal to move into Klay Thompson's spot with Golden State after he had moved over. Nicholas Batum joining the LA Clippers, where he will step in for Paul George. Paul George is now going to sign with the 76ers, where he will join with Joel Embiid. Chicago got some bad news as DeMar DeRozan will move on from the Bulls. The 15-year-old vet made the decision after the Bulls brought over Josh Giddey from OKC, who replaces Alex Caruso. DeRozan said, we can't compete now with this lineup. I am out. Derek White signed his deal to stay with Boston as well. Dion Wright, a 1-year deal with the Bucks. Drew Eubanks, a 2-year, $10 million deal to join the Jazz and give them some help on the boards. And Tobias Harris is moving on from the 76ers, so they will need to find a new point guard as well. Isaiah Hartenstein leaving the Knicks, taking a 3-year, $87 million deal with the Thunder. I actually really like this. Maybe the best center on the market this offseason. What was the one thing OKC had a problem with in this last postseason? Rebounding. It's one thing they could not do. I really like Chet Holmgren, but he's not a board wiper. Hartenstein is. So now I got a board wiper. I got a 5 that can play a 4 in Chet Holmgren. I like everything about this move for OKC. I think this makes OKC, to me, more dangerous than Dallas next postseason. I really do think OKC just made the move. As much as we talked about Dallas being a player short, I thought OKC was too. And I think this is the player. I think this team addressed its issue probably better than anybody else did in this run. Let's move on very quickly to item number 3. I don't know that anybody else is going to consider this one of the top 3 stories in baseball, but it is, to me, one of baseball's, my favorite baseball traditions. You a home run derby guy? Can I get you to tune in for a derby?
Yeah, I almost always watch a home run derby.
I love the derby, man. Right? Because it's just the boys being the boys.
But seeing who's going to wash out because they try so hard in the first round and they get, I mean, there's a surefire winner and then he doesn't always win.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You get a Pete Alonso who goes out there and he just smashes in the first round, but then you can see halfway through the second round that he's tired and the bat got a little heavier. All of a sudden, the velo coming off the exit is just not as high.
And sometimes the guy who's pitching to them gets tired.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%. And that's why this is good. This is very interesting because that has been noticed by Major League Baseball. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby has changed its rules for this year. It is set for July 15th at Globe Life Field. By the way, we're almost halfway through the baseball season. Wild, right? Didn't we have opening day like a week ago? And we're almost halfway through. Now, it is not as dramatic of a shift as MLB went through back in 2015. Remember, back in 2015, it was changed from the outs system. You got 10 outs. Anything that you swung at that was not a home run was an out. And there were ways to earn some bonuses or whatnot. They shifted to a clock-based system. They are keeping the clock-based system, but they are going to change up the way that the rules work. Last year, the entire Derby was an 8-person single elimination bracket. They will not go with a knockout round this year until the second round. This year, there is still an element of the one-on-one showdown, but that doesn't come into play until the semifinals. This year's first round will have no predetermined seeds. It will consist of all 8 hitters competing with the top 4 performers advancing to the semifinals. At that point, it will shift to the guy who hit the highest number versus the guy who hit the lowest number. And then obviously the guy who hit the second and the third highest will be on the other side of the bracket.
All right, real quick. If they have no seeds, how do they determine what batting order?
The most home runs hit in the first round will be the 1 seed. The least home runs hit will be the 4
I
seed.
mean when they first start.
Oh, I assume it's just going to be a random draw.
Okay.
I assume. I haven't seen that.
They're explaining all that, but if there's no seeds, how do you know who goes first and who goes last?
I'm assuming it's going to be a random draw. The only other way I could see them doing it is home run total in the regular season, right? Or whoever has the most home runs goes.
Maybe alphabetical order.
Yeah, I'm not sure is the answer. Last year, there was no formal maximum number of pitchers that a hitter could see during an individual round. It was still the case that a lead official had to notify the pitcher when he or she could throw the next pitch to the batter based on whether it was clear that the previous batted ball would or would not result in a home run. But beyond getting that approval from the official, there was no stopping a pitcher from going as fast as he or she wanted. So basically, that pitcher could throw, look, when the official said next ball is clear, throw, and a lot of batters were bringing in guys that had arms and they could just fire pitches in during that clock. That is no longer the case. The first 2 rounds will still be 3 minutes. The final round will still be 2 minutes, as was the case before 2024. But there is now a maximum number of pitches each hitter can see in each round. The first round and semifinals will conclude whenever 3 minutes or 40 pitches come first, but there are bonus periods that we'll talk about in a minute. Likewise, the finals will conclude after either 2 minutes or 27 pitches, excluding the bonus period. Bonus pitches are no longer on a timer. Last year, there was an automatic 30 seconds of extra time granted to each batter at the conclusion of each regulation period. Then beyond that, a hitter could earn an additional 30 seconds, giving him 60 bonus seconds total if he hit 2 home runs of at least 440 feet. This year, the bonus pitches are different in terms of how they are acquired and how long they last. Instead of getting an automatic 30 seconds of extra time, each player now gets bonus pitches up until they record 3 outs within that bonus period. If a player hits a home run of at least 425 within the bonus period, then the bonus period is extended to last until the player records his 4th out in that period. But it is no longer the case that hitting those long home runs during regulation leads to extra time. Here's one thing that I pointed out. Did anybody catch it? Last year, the distance to trigger the bonus time was 440 yards. This time, it's 425. Why? Why is it 425?
Ball tampering.
Because MLB dead in the baseball and it killed the Atlanta Braves. I thought I was a lunatic. I thought I was a conspiracy theorist. I thought I was the Alex Jones of sports radio. Turns out I'm actually a freaking genius and I nailed it. I know ball. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming back in just a minute. Stay right there. Thank you. 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. 71307 is the text line number. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one, Lonzo, at Lonzo on Word, at Lonzo on Word. And you can get at us on the stream as well. Live streaming every show, every day that we're on the air. All you got to do is Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, The Fan Upstate, or The Rob Brown Show on YouTube and The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. You can see the beautiful, bright, shining smile of the great one, Lonzo, every single day for 4 hours. So do that. Do that. Hey, there's a new thing in the world of NIL that I think is going to help win Lonzo over even more. There is a chicken restaurant in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
This chicken restaurant, that's a weird way to say it.
Chicken joint.
Wings. No, that's the name of an actual restaurant.
Wing place.
A wing joint. I don't think anybody's called themselves Wing Joint yet. Anyway, this place.
That implies it's only the joint of the. Never mind.
Do people not call places joints anymore? It's
Nah,
joints,
see,
right?
they don't. Yeah, went down to the wings joint. Yeah,
it's a place apparently called Breakers in Columbia. Anybody ever been there?
I've heard of it before.
Have you?
We should run by there when we're in Columbia.
Not mad about it.
Next month.
Not mad about it. And we've got a number, Zoe. We got a number to go down there and see how we stack up against the South Carolina Athletic Department wing eating champion, because they held a wing eating competition between members of the football and the basketball teams a few days ago. Do you want to guess, Lonzo, what sport and what position player won the wing eating contest?
Offensive lineman from football?
That is exactly correct. Ja'Kai Moore competed against multiple teammates and basketball players in a wing eating contest and smoked the competition. To put it into perspective, Joey Chestnut did a wing eating contest not too long ago. Devoured over 38 wings in a little over 3 minutes. That means my dog was putting down about 11 and a half wings a minute. And you got to keep in mind, these things, like every time they eat and they drop that bone, a judge looks at it to say that wing's clear, that wing's good. You got to eat the wing. All right, you can't do.
There's a certain amount of meat you got to get off there.
You ever had wings with somebody that doesn't take all the meat off the bone? It's one of the most infuriating things on planet Earth.
It's so wasteful.
It bothers the hell out of me, and I don't know why. It ain't my wings, right? But it bothered. I think were you in a household that you don't leave the table till you clean your plate? Was that?
I don't want to do the thing where we didn't have much food, so
okay.
So yes,
Lonzo, you finish your half a can of Spam before you get up.
Spam was great back in the day.
Fried Spam's not bad.
Spam, yes,
it's not bad. All right. I grew up
It's the meat of choice in the south side of Columbus. I'm just saying.
It's really fried Spam is really not bad. You know what else I've gotten really big into lately? Fried bologna. Big. The fiance won me over to fried bologna. I'd never had it.
Wow, welcome to the South. You're really going southern here.
I grew up on the beach. Fried bologna wasn't a thing down there.
Yeah, my mom's from Kentucky, so fried bologna definitely.
I'm all in on some fried bologna sandwiches now. All right, a little slather of mayo across the top, toast that bread on both sides, a little butter on it.
Yeah, we went ketchup, but whatever you do.
I mean, I'll try it. I'll try anything. Anyway,
ketchup and mustard and a smiley face on fried bologna.
I grew up in a happy plate house. You don't get up from the table till if you're a kid, you don't get up from the table till you made a happy plate, right? Happy plate. Plate's got to be empty. Then when I got older, it was always like, you can go to dinner, you finish your dinner, or you don't get anything else, and you will finish your dinner for breakfast tomorrow. Okay?
How can you get any pudding if you don't eat all your meat?
How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? So it drives me bananas when I go grab wings with somebody and they don't finish the meat off the bone. But in a wing eating contest, you've got to. You've got to. You've got to finish the meat off the bone. Joey Chestnut went 38 wings in a little over 3 minutes, put him at about 11 and a half bones a minute. Ja'Kai Moore did about 7.5 wings per minute. So about 4 less than the greatest eater in the history of eating.
You also got to keep in mind that as an offensive lineman, he's a big guy. He's got bigger hands. It's a little bit harder to get. I mean, Joey Chestnut has smaller hands.
I disagree. I think for a wing eating contest, you want the smaller hand because the fingers are out of the way of the meat, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Ja'Kai's hands are so big, eating something like
he's
that
gotta
makes it
maneuver
more
a lot
difficult.
That's,
Yeah.
okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, and I agree. Not only did he out-eat 3 other fellow linemen in the competition, but he also took down 4 basketball players who showed up. When it was all said and done, Ja'Kai Moore knocked back 20 wings in 3 minutes. Defeated the reigning champ Vershawn Lee this year to take the Garnet Trust wing eating contest, according to Mike Uva, who was there. 20 wings in 3 minutes. And my favorite thing was the picture that he posted of Vershawn Lee, who was just like defeated, like a look of defeat, right? Because I can't think that as a competitor, though not winner, in many a eating contest back in my heyday.
Never tried it.
Oh, dude. I think I won one wing eating contest at the Hooters in Destin. But it was in like 2008. So I was like 23, right? Much better shape.
Were you there as a celebrity or you just
I was.
Okay.
I was hosting a morning show at that point. It was the Hooters Bikini Contest and Wing Eating Championship. And I was both a judge for the bikini contest and a wing eating competitor that day. I won twice.
Wow, dinner and a show.
Yeah, I won twice. It was a great day to be Rob Brown. I'll be straight up with you. I cannot remember how much I ate. I cannot remember how many I ate. I know I won. I think I won by like 2 wings over another guy.
Did you think, though, at the same time, the more you eat, the less chance you have with anyone who's in the bikini contest?
Dude, when those women came out, I didn't have a chance before I ate a wing. Okay. And they made the smart decision. They did the bikini contest first. All right.
It's a good move.
Yeah, real good move. As soon as they came out, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I might as well eat the wings. I might as well just be coated in wing sauce when this is over because I got no shot. And this was when I was like 24 and in shape, dude. No chance. These women were like, the winner of this was going to be Miss Florida for the Hooters Bikini Contest in Las Vegas. Like, these were the most attractive women from the state of Florida. I was beyond out of my league. Okay. So what I will tell you is I remember being absolutely miserable after finishing until they named me the winner and Miss Hooters Florida walked over to give me my, and this is true, sash and crown.
All right.
I looked beautiful. I looked amazing. Okay. But what I can tell you is I've lost many in eating contests as well. And I don't think there is a worse feeling than the misery of knocking back, couple dozen wings in 3 or 4 minutes and then not winning, having to sit with that much meat in the gut for like 5 or 8 hours and not have a sash and a crown for it.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to eat all those wings. That's a win right there. If you like wings.
A plate of wings, fiance will tell you this. If she ever says, you pick what's for dinner, we're getting wings. I love chicken wings. Chicken wings and shrimp are my favorite 2 foods on the planet. All right. I will take chicken wings and shrimp over anything. And the versatility of chicken wings and shrimp, incredible. Right? Bubba Gump told y'all about shrimp. I don't need to tell you about shrimp. Bubba did a fine job of it. Chicken wings, you can bake them. You can fry them. You can broil them. You can pretty much do anything. You can coat them, not coat them, bread them, not coat them, spice them, not coat them, marinate them, grill them. There's a million ways, and they're very versatile. That's why I love chicken wings. Because when you say chicken wing, I got to ask, how do you prepare your chicken? Somebody says, come over for wings. I'm like, how are you making them? All right. I've gotten big into smoked wings, big on smoked wings right now. But a classic breaded fried wing, never going to steer wrong with that. Right. But I will tell you that while a plate of wings is always a good decision, 5 plates of them in 5 minutes is not a good decision. You will regret that for days at a time unless you win a wing eating contest.
Which was worse, the nuggets or the wings?
The nuggets, but it was only because the particular nuggets that we got when Cody Decker and I had to slam 75 of them in 4 hours. The only reason that the nuggets were worse is that they are so full of sodium. They suck up every bit of moisture in your body. And it's like your body wants to sweat, but you have no sweat to sweat. The salt has absorbed it all. I'm not kidding when I tell you, I thought Cody Decker was going to die. I called him the next day at like noon just to check in, be like, hey, feeling, bud? And he goes, I have not gotten out of bed since the end of that show. I'm like, you haven't gotten out to pee? He's like, no, there's no liquid in my body. None. I have nothing left, right? That was worse. It would have made it better if I'd have finished the 75 wings and they would have given me a sash and a crown. I'd have felt a lot better, but I didn't. I felt awful.
Do you still have the sash and the crown, or did you
I
have
do
to
not.
give it back?
I do not. No, I didn't have to give it back, but it has been lost in the multiple moves that I've made since that point in time, which is too bad because I'd hang it in the window if I still had it. I would hang it in the window. It was a point of pride for me in a very long time. In fact, at my old station, I had a show liner for about a year that was, and now your host, winner of the 2000 and whatever year it was, 8 Hooters Florida wing eating competition, Rob Brown. Like it was a tag for a minute.
And now you just have the, Star Award.
Now I just have,
I mean,
like best radio show in the state.
Yeah, you just got, that's not winning at wings though.
Right. It's not the same thing. Best radio talk show in the state 2 out of the 3 years that I've been here is not quite the same as Hooters statewide wing eating champion. It's not the same vibe. But the eating competition was held by the Garnet Trust, the NIL collective for South Carolina. They hooked all these guys up to come in and knock back a few dozen wings and gave them some cash for it. This is how you get athletes to buy in, man. This is how you do it. Dumb stuff like this. Because tell me Ja'Kai Moore is not walking around with that title and that championship belt for the next year, right? Texas said, what's the proper way to eat a wing? I feel like I leave meat, but it's not intentional. That's from Corn Chip. We'll talk about that, Corn Chip. That's a life lesson. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Corn Chip.
I was so enthralled by the wing talk that I didn't notice the time. I'm blaming you for such a compelling story.
That's fair. It was compelling.
Involved in the trade. Transaction sends Thompson to Dallas. The full details of the deal haven't been specified yet. Tonight, the Braves start a series at home against the Giants. 6-2 Reynaldo Lopez starts for Atlanta. He's got a 1.70 ERA. The Braves are currently
Smoked wings are like they have jumped way up to the top of my list. Rob, do you eat bologna uncooked? If so, you have technically raw dogged a hot dog. That's fair. That's fair. Shane, you missed one of the Fire Greg rants, but there's another one coming down the pipe, bud. I'm going to leave it out of the 7 o'clock hour because I accidentally did back-to-back segments in the first. I did one to open the show. Go back and listen to the open of the show. I did one to open the show, and then in the second segment, I was going to get away from it, but Lonzo brought it up, so I ran it back. So I'm going to put soccer out of the money hour of the show, which is this hour, and then I'll come back into the next hour. Because the first segment wasn't really so much breaking down the game as it was just being mad. Like it was just be mad for a segment. And then the second segment was me explaining why I'm mad. And it turned into a discussion about the actual popularity of football in the United States, soccer in the United States. So I will circle back around to the actual discussion about Greg, et cetera, in the next hour.
All right, so somebody is spreading the cologne on really strong in the restroom. And I can't breathe. I mean, it's I don't know if they're hitting the axe or what it is, but it's
Hitting axe.
it's cloying. it's like it hits you when you walk in. I don't know. I think I'd rather smell something else than that stuff. But the usual offenders are on vacation this week, so it's not them. Plus, they're proud of their stank. They're not going to try to, diffuse it with something cologne-like. That stuff is bad. Oh. I can't even handle like Febreze or anything, so this stuff is rough. No, there's no banana because they're not here this week. Not that other people are incapable of doing something weird, but it's bad. Have fun. See ya.
Later, dude. Thanks for coming by. Dennis. Been nice having you.
I don't believe you, by the way.
I don't care. God, I am being a jerk today, dude.
Yeah, I'm being
a jerk today.
You're not being overly nice, but that's fine.
Nah, I'm not. I'm really not in the mood. You can all thank Gregaga for that.
I like Jerk Rob as long as he's not, being that way towards me, because then I gotta retaliate.
I could never.
Yeah, I mean,
I could never.
Yeah, because you ain't winning a shouting match today.
I don't know, man. I feel like I could dig down deep if I
Hey,
need to.
we're finishing up hour 2. You're still kind of strong.
Dennis
There you go.
hates fun. That's all it is. Dennis hates fun. That's all it comes down to. Dennis hates fun. All right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can come to the stream. But I'm not gonna say it in there. I'm just gonna say Dennis hates fun.
Don't let trolls get you. He could just be joking.
Maybe
It could be. I mean, it could
and if
be.
he's joking, then I'm joking. Dennis loves fun. But if he's not joking, Dennis hates fun.
we're just award winning over here. That's what we do. So
Hey, let's get to some more stuff around the world of sports. The ACC has officially welcomed Cal, SMU, and Stanford into the league. It is so yesterday. SMU's first official day in the ACC was yesterday. Cal and Stanford officially become members on August 2nd, but the ACC did put out the official welcome to all three yesterday. And it's a thing that happened. I mean, of all the things that have ever happened in the ACC, this is one of them. This is one of the things that happened.
I forgot all about them being a part of the ACC.
I mean, listen, so that we're clear, these actually are pretty good additions to the conference, except for football, right? Like, here you go. Cal runs 30 sports in postseason eligible team sports. Cal runs 30 teams in postseason eligible sports. 21 of them made their postseason. 3 of them finished last season ranked number 2 or better in their respective sports. 9 of those 30 teams finished in the top 10. 3 Pac-12 coaches won Coach of the Year awards. 6 Pac-12 players won Conference Player of the Year awards. 2 student athletes won 2023-24 Pac-12 Scholar Athletes of the Year. Across Cal, of all their athletes, they have 104 all-time national championships, 331 all-time individual national championships. They have sent 223 Olympians to be medalists, including 121 gold medalists.
Hey, congrats.
That's pretty good numbers.
Congrats to the ACC getting some surfing trophies now. Way to go.
I mean, can we get some love for gymnastics up in this B? You're damn right we can. Let's go, Simone. Turn it back on. All right? You good? We got you back.
I don't know. This weekend, the gymnastics, a lot of stepping out of bounds.
Simone?
From everybody. It was not good. They got to do better.
Got to do better.
Got to know where that line is.
Cannot wait. We are, what are we sitting on exactly 20 days away from the start of the Olympics? when Lonzo and I are going to be absolutely become the two most intense gymnastics radio broadcasters you've ever heard. You can be like a one-day refresher course, and I'll come back in here and be able to say, I know Matt. I know hobby. Are they called hobby horse?
Dude, are you serious?
What are they? I forgot what they're called. Not pummel.
No, pommel's for the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do the horse. The women.
What do you call that thing? I am completely blanked.
The
Big Olympics guy.
The parallel bars?
No. The thing that they sit on and they.
The women don't do that. That's a pommel horse. The guys do that.
I said pommel horse.
Right, but the guys don't do that. I mean, the women don't do that.
They do. What do
they have balance beam.
They do balance beam. That's
Yeah.
right. But I was right when I said pommel horse and definitely not hobby horse, which I definitely did not say out loud about gymnastics on the radio. Point is, big gymnastics guy over here. Okay.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell.
Big gymnastics guy. And Cal brings a history. SMU, 8 AAC championship teams last year, 28 event conference titles won by student athletes, 10 You know what? I'm going to stop. And here's why. Because no one cares. Because no one cares. No one cares. No one gives a good gosh darn.
About the ACC, yes.
No,
you're right.
about these teams being added to it.
Okay, yeah.
All right?
I, in all seriousness, I did forget that they got added to the ACC.
I mean, listen.
Because it still doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, everybody else is getting teams. We need to get some too. Oh, okay. Let's take them.
I'll go a buck further. Because again, I actually have some good arguments.
Do you feel like there are bugs crawling on your arms? I know you're peeling,
I'm
but
peeling,
and
it's real itchy.
It's getting obsessive.
I forgot to
where you're
moisturize. I should have moisturized before I came in here. No, I'm not using hand sanitizer. My skin is more high quality than that.
Okay.
Right? I have lotion in the car. I'll go apply during the break.
There might be some women down the hall that might have some moisturizer.
That's true.
I'm just
and
saying.
I bet they got some smell good stuff down there.
Should I go ask Tori? I mean, it'd be weird.
I'll go ask Tori. I don't care.
All right.
I bet she's got some like lavender.
Hey, Tori, Rob needs some moisturizer.
I do. I need some moisturizer. Okay, so like you bring in Stanford. Stanford is the leader in all-time NCAA team championships, right? Like there's legacy from these teams being brought in, and no one cares. Here's why they got brought in. I told you this when it happened. I'll tell you again just to give you a refresher because, hey, today, tried to get John Blau on today. Missed him yesterday because I was off. And he goes, I'd love to come on, bub, but he's up in North Carolina today. Why? Because today is the first hearings in Clemson versus the ACC in the North Carolina version of the case, right? So these teams did not get brought in because they're crown jewels. These teams did not get brought in because they are now going to make the ACC the elite football conference in America. These teams got brought in for one reason and one reason alone. These teams got brought in so that there were too many members to vote to dissolve the conference. That is it. That's it. That's the only reason. They didn't bring them in because Stanford, SMU, and Cal are going to make football elite. They didn't bring them in because Cal, SMU, and Stanford are going to up the ACC's degree of difficulty, or because we believe they're going to be postseason teams, or any of that. They brought them in for one reason and one reason alone, so that the schools like Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, etc., couldn't win over another couple of schools like an NC State or a Duke, get them to vote to dissolve the conference, and then do that. That's it. That's it. That's why nobody cares. That's why nobody's like, this is it is now here and official. When I go to ACC Media Days, these schools will be represented. I will be interviewing players and coaches from Stanford, Cal, and SMU. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. These guys, these teams were not brought in to make the conference a better football conference. They were brought in so that Clemson couldn't call Virginia Tech and be like, yo, Hokies. Yo, Hokies. Let's be real. We could all be making more money. You'll get a Big Ten invite. Virginia Tech will get a Big Ten invite. We want Enter Sandman on TV. We'll give you a crack, right? We'll pull some strings. Florida State can't call Miami and be like, listen, I know we got a long history. I know we got a long history of back and forth, a lot of rivalry, going back to the Jimmy Johnson days, going back to the Bobby Bowden days. Like, I know we've got this history. So why not keep the band together? When we catch our SEC invite, we'll put in a good word for you too. Wink, wink, finger guns. We'll put in a good word for you. Hey, and we'll get you the invite and you'll make a buttload more money. Vote to dissolve the conference. And they make a good argument. And then all of a sudden, it's not just Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, Duke, but maybe you get a Virginia Tech. Maybe those two go, hey, let's make a play to stick with each other. We'll go to the Big Ten too. Or we'll go to the Geico 12, right? Geico 12 is going to pay out more money probably starting in a year or two. Let's go to the Geico 12. Let's go to the Rouse's Supermarkets 12. Let's go to the Applebee's 12. Oh, Applebee's a good one. Applebee's 12. We'll make more money. And then all of a sudden, the league dissolves itself. Well, guess what? Do you think there is a chance that Stanford, SMU, and Cal are going to vote to dissolve a conference that they just joined? A conference that saved them? No, of course not. So now the number of votes required to dissolve the conference grew, and the number of schools willing to vote to dissolve the conference did not. So the ACC is only now under threat from these lawsuits. The Florida State ACC lawsuits in both Florida and North Carolina. The Clemson ACC lawsuits, both in Pickens County and up in Charlotte. And they're getting underway. So I'm ready for what is going to be, boys and girls, the most exciting few months in college football's calendar. The day that I got to remember to bring the blenders back, the day that we start playing Law and Order ACC. Can't wait. Lonzo and I are about to hit the legal books. We're about to become legal scholars of the highest order. By the end of these lawsuits, Zoe and I are both going to be able to say, we know law, just like we know ball. Can't wait. You know what else Lonzo knows? How to read the hell out of a sports flash.
Let's see about that. Boston's Jason Tatum is now the richest man in the history of the NBA after signing a 5-year, $314 million extension. Good for him. With the Celtics following an NBA Finals win. The move comes after Boston signed his teammate Jaylen Brown to a record extension last year, meaning the two richest contracts in NBA history will both be in Boston next year. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving have some help next year as former Golden State Warrior Klay Thompson has signed a 3-year, $50 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks as part of the three-way trade that landed Thompson and Dallas and Mavericks send guard Josh Green to the Charlotte Hornets and sent 2 second-round picks to Golden State. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand spanking new show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun, and it's all Wire to Wire.
And 123 into Greenville from the west is a clear shot. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Celebrate Greenville's music scene every Thursday night through August 29th at Noma Square with a free outdoor party at Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, benefiting Metropolitan Arts Council. New this year, Arts After Dark every third Thursday, showcasing local upstate artists. Visit gvilleevents.com for details.
Welcome to Staples, young man. Tomorrow's my big day. Big day? First grade. Aw. Well, you know, Staples has crayons, markers, glue. I need a laptop. Oh, yeah, sure. With Staples Hot Deals, you can save up to $300 on select PCs for Staples. Wait. The finances are mom's department. Right. I'm looking for performance, like a Core i7 processor. Boy, first grade is really changed. Tell me about it.
Save big on tech for school with super low Staples Hot Deals. Right now, get up to $300 off select PCs at Staples. Ends 8/24.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you can be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with
My nose, I believe, is reacting to the smell, so it just started.
I forgot to go in there.
It started dripping. That's why I had to run and get some tissue. There was no way I could have read the sports flash whilst things were flowing down my face. You know, if I leave the room, it's for a really good reason. No, Stephen, you don't understand how it works in radio. They're new till we say they're not. Just like we're in our new time slot, which we've been, I have no, how long have we been in the morning? 6 months? That's been longer than that, hasn't it?
Wire to wire?
No, how long have we been in the morning?
We moved. Let's see.
Yeah. See, you got to look it up.
Let's see. September. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May.
So nearly a year.
June, July. It's been almost 10 months.
Yeah.
Because it was at the end of September. So 9 months.
Cole can't say Tony Batelli without it sounding like gangsta either. I'm sorry, gangster. Keegan, I'm trying to figure out how in the world that got past autocorrect. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I also sent you a couple of videos earlier on X.
Let's see, Chong.
One of which I would probably die trying, but I would try it. You get the video game one? Yeah.
I would, my vertigo.
Oh, same here.
Would kill me, and it wouldn't stop me.
I'd get stuck in a spin. It wouldn't be able to,
Ah!
be able to recover. Like, oh.
Miss Lisa walks in the room, and you're just like a pig on a spit.
Oh, that would happen.
That the sound of a large number of American sports fans leaving Arrowhead Stadium last night chanting "Fire Greg."
It's very difficult to use that chant with a one-syllable word at the end. You know?
Yeah, well, it's the fire. Like you gotta really lean.
No, they had to go Greg.
And then Greg.
Yeah, because it's really, it needs to be 2 syllables. So maybe Greggy.
Fire Greg.
See, that works. That works better than just Greg.
I nailed that. The Americans lose 1-0 to Uruguay last night. It eliminates them from contention in Copa America, the second biggest tournament that the Americans will play in over the span of the now less than next 2 years, as the World Cup, not just an event we've qualified for, but an event we're hosting. And, you know, the Copa America was a test.
Hey, will they move? Could they move the event if the host country doesn't participate?
Host country automatically qualifies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wait. So all that. Oh,
I was about to stop that before it started. They still go through the qualification process, and we would have qualified even if we weren't hosting. But the host nation does auto qualify. It's not good enough. Let me run you through some of the different things that happened and were said last night amongst some of the bigger talking heads in the world of international football. I will start with a clip from Alexi Lawless. Now, because we have not talked about this very often on the radio, I will tell you, I'm not a big Alexi Lawless guy. I used to be. When Alexi Lawless worked for ESPN, I was a big fan. I thought he was one of the most level-headed soccer dudes in the game. But he moved over to Fox. And when he moved over to Fox, I think he became a bit of a hot take artist when it comes to football. I think he became a guy that decided to play the game of it's more important to issue hot takes for attention than it is to bring good analysis to the radio. Now, he's not wrong because he's getting paid like millions of dollars to do it. And it's a situation of don't hate the player, hate the game. And I do. Because I just want to be a good sports broadcaster. I don't want to sit here and come up with outrageous takes for the sake of getting attention. And I feel like that's what Alexi Lawless did. But that is also why I have said when a hot take artist like Alexi Lawless makes a point that I agree with, to me, that makes it more impactful. When a hot take artist, whether it's NBA, MLB, NFL, whatever, when a hot take artist, and you know who the hell I'm talking about, makes a hot take, and I agree with it, someone who has rooted his entire radio character in being based, rooted his entire radio character in being objective and fair and actually analyzing the game as opposed to just making knee-jerk statements, it matters.
You talked about learning from losing, okay? I think what we have learned over these cycles is that this team is not able to do anything better than is done in the past. And that hurts. That hurts to say because that was not what was promised and not what for many we believed was going to happen with this team. Because if this is as good as it gets, it's not good enough. And there's plenty of excuses, but they don't matter. You can talk about opportunities. Well, we have players that are playing all over the world. Talk about playing in Europe. Well, the entire team that you saw out there plays in Europe, so it's not MLS's fault. You can talk about, the pathways and the resources that they have. No generation has been given more, and yet this generation hasn't lived up to that bargain. And when it comes to Greg Berhalter, we heard Stu Holden say it's exactly right. I know there's a sport in firing coaches in all professional sports. And I know the knives are out, and they should be, because this is not good enough from Greg Berhalter. And you have to ask yourself, with 2026 coming barreling down the pike, it's going to come real quick.
Less than 2 years away.
All right? We can't afford to waste it. We can't afford to be embarrassed. And we can't afford to arrive in the summer of 26 with a team that has not progressed, that has not evolved, and has not improved. And I'm sure if Greg Berhalter was here, he would say, oh, but you don't see what's happening inside. I don't give a crap what is happening inside. I don't care about the dynamic. I don't care how much your players love you. I don't care how kumbaya it is. All I care about is I see a U.S. men's national team that is better than before. And we haven't seen that, and that's a problem going forward.
Yeah. What I say earlier in the show. I don't care if they're all friends. I don't. In fact, how many stories have we heard from teammates of Michael Jordan who said, yeah, I wasn't friends with that guy. He was kind of a jackass. How many stories where Shaq and Kobe didn't get along? They did win championships together, right? Shaq very famously got onto a mic and asked Kobe Bryant to tell him how his taste. Remember? I don't need you to be friends. In fact, there's a part of me, at least in this case, that now, I'm not saying that's never the case, that I want my players to not like the coach but respect him. But right now, I almost kind of feel like we need to make it uncomfortable. I feel like we almost kind of have to make it uncomfortable. Carly Lloyd.
My concern is just how comfortable these players are with Berhalter. I mean, we won championships and we hated our coaches, and I'm not saying you have to hate your coach, but I question how comfortable it is inside that locker room. Are they being pushed? Are they being held accountable? And it doesn't look like that from the outside looking in.
Yes. I do not care if they're all buddies. If you are in it to be friends, to be BFFs, totes, if you're in it to be Taylor Swifts together, then start a band. Go start an intramural squad. Go play rec soccer somewhere. Go dominate some poor beer league soccer on your off days. Go do something else. If you're in this for buds, and I'm not saying I don't want you to be buds. I don't care if you're buds or not. What I care about is, are you growing? Are you developing? And what I do think has happened is that because of the fact that Greg feels like he's untouchable, Greg's got comfortable. And I feel like because of the fact that Greg got comfortable, the players got comfortable. And I think because of the fact that the players got comfortable and they have been told over and over about how this is the best roster of American footer players ever, that they're just like, oh, we're good. Just roll out there and do what we do. If the players love Kirby Smart over at Georgia, I'm great with that. If the players are the 100 BFFs that have ever BFF'd, I'm good with that. Why? Because they're kicking everybody's ass while they do it. Fine. But that's not what's happening here. Here's another back and forth. First voice you're going to hear is Alexi Lawless. Then you will hear Furman University's own Uncle Clint Dempsey.
Well, the players certainly need to be better.
Do you think this generation of players has what it takes? Like, do you think that they have that deep inside of them?
I think there's a couple of them. I think they are better soccer players, but ultimately I don't think that they're better U.S. men's national team players.
You want a bite of that apple?
Man, I mean,
Do we need to hold you back or what?
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words. I mean, it's so frustrating to see. You have a team that you're rooting on and you want to do well, and at the same time, where have we come since 2022? You know, you qualify for the World Cup, you get out of the group, and then where have we progressed? And we haven't, to Lexi's point, and that's the most frustrating part. This is our golden generation. It looks like we're wasting it, and 2026 coming up. You're never going to get this opportunity again. I mean, 94 we had it. We're going to have it here, but then you don't know when that next time is going to come. When are you going to have a better chance to do something special in the World Cup?
Yeah. You want to know why I'm mad? You want to know why I'm upset? I'm mad and I am upset because in less than 2 years, we host the World Cup. We got one shot at this. If I'm lucky, I'll get another World Cup before I die. But the last one was in 1994. I was 9 years old. The next one will be 2026. I will be 41 years old. That's a long time between matches. I'm real bad at math, so I'm going to use the calculator on this, Lonzo, and it says that's 32 years between World Cups, which means that if it's another 32 years, I will be 73 the next time a World Cup comes to America. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to make it to 73, but I'm saying none of the other dudes in my family do.
I hate when you do this because you know how old I'll be?
Older than 73.
I'll be pushing 88.
Yeah. If, let's say, miracle of miracles, I one day convince Lonzo to become a U.S. soccer fan, you think he's going to appreciate the World Cup? I smell it too. It's like, is that like popcorn mixed with something?
Like hominy.
Yeah.
I hate the smell of hominy.
Who is
Man,
doing
people are
this?
trying to kill me today. That's what it is. There's just some assassin in the hallway.
Golly, that reeks, man. Today may be today combined with my attitude, today might be the day I fist fight a coworker. Today what do you get? Do you get like a written warning for punching a coworker, or is that in an automatic get out of here? Do you think if I wrote in the HR report, they made the whole upstairs smell like if you poured foot onto butter popcorn, that would be they'd be like, hey, we don't like it, but we understand it.
I have never seen physicality. All right. I've seen physicality, but I've never seen it reported. So I don't know what would happen after that.
Okay. I'm not saying I'm doing it yet. I'm thinking about it.
I know in the room right now, I'm HR.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So I'm in the clear.
Yeah. It's.
I just need to trick whoever it is that did it into this
Because
studio.
if HR isn't present,
Yeah.
according to the rules, a manager is HR. So yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Get out of jail free card. Maybe literally. So
I think it depends on who you're punching.
the reason that I'm big on this is exactly what Dempsey just said. And to answer Shane's question, yes, Clinton Dempsey did play at Furman. Not only did he play at Furman, but last year was inducted into the Furman Hall of Fame because of his time where he was a key component of the Furman Paladin footy team. Exactly what Dempsey just said. We will host, if I'm lucky, 2 more World Cups in my lifetime. But the next one would be when I'm in my 70s. And if I make it to my 70s, I don't think I'm going to have the same appreciation for being able to go to a World Cup game as I would. I'm going to tell you right now, 2026, if America plays in Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, or New York, I'm going to a match. I don't care if we're up against the powerhouse. I'm going to a match. And I'm going to lose my bleeping mind.
Yeah, but here, I mean, see, this is what I guess it's just the love of that particular sport. Why would you go watch it as angry as you are or upset as you've been the last couple of days? Why would you go put yourself through that in person?
Would you go to it's like, it's the soccer version of going to a Super Bowl. Don't even need my team to be in it. In fact, I will even go so far as to tell you, I'll probably, depending on what the U.S. schedule looks like where they're playing, because I'm assuming they're probably going to play a game in each of the regions. They'll play a game in the Northeast, a game in the Southeast, and probably a game somewhere out West. There's a chance I'm following that team around through the group stage. I'll go to all 3 games if I can. It's a bucket list. And on top of that, unlike the Super Bowl, where you can go every year, I can't go when it's in Japan. I can't go when it's in Aussie, oi, oi, oi. I can go when it's here, maybe.
Well,
when
you could go.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I can't afford to go.
There we go.
Yet.
There we go.
How's that? I'm going to go to as many games as I can during that World Cup. I'm going to tell you right now, that year, the fiance already knows this, I'll be burning most of my vacation during the World Cup. Most of it. There will be a lot of flights in and out of GSP International Airport during that World Cup. Because I'm going to everyone. I'm saving money for that World Cup. I'm saving money now for that World Cup. I plan on buying a lot of stuff. Airplane tickets, game tickets, whatever. We have one shot. We have one shot in my lifetime to do a World Cup where I can go and actually be like a over-the-top fan.
All right.
And we're wasting it.
Shane wants you to take him with you, and he will if you pay.
Correct. Anybody can go with me that wants to get themselves there. Hercules Gomez on Greg Berhalter.
Any other footballing country, serious footballing federation, Greg Berhalter's job would seriously be in jeopardy. But that won't be the case here. The most difficult decision was to bring Greg Berhalter back, and that's what they did. They're going to stick with Greg Berhalter. And listen, we hear about the golden generation, these players and where they play. We've heard that so many times. But under Greg Berhalter, this golden generation has not done anything that previous generations haven't done. In fact, the previous generations going back 2002, the World Cup, 2009, ending that 35 game, unbeaten streak to Spain, 2010, getting out of the group winning the group in the World Cup, 2013, winning a sec. I could keep going on and on and on. These previous generations have signature wins. They have big moments. This golden generation under Greg Berhalter doesn't have one signature win.
Yeah, that's it. We are wasting time. And, when they brought back Greg and it was 4 years from a World Cup, it's like, all right, time to develop, right? He's got this new roster full of talent, full of opportunity, full of possibility. He's got time to develop it. Here we are. This was the one he was supposed to be developed by. I'm not saying we had to go win it. This is one spot that I will defer from football fans, from American football fans. For American football fans, it's what? We win the title. Look at Clemson. Clemson is on a run of success that a lot of teams wish they were in, but it's not good enough because they're not winning championships.
They
right?
were on that run.
There's still a very good football program. How many teams out there would kill to get 9 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins? Like most of them. But because we have a mentality of championship or it's a waste of time. I don't even agree with that. I want to be a threat. I want to be a threat. And even the best teams in the world, you get one World Cup every 4 years. You imagine the Super Bowl was every 4 years, right? Lombardies will be a lot more prestigious than they are, and they are very prestigious. Imagine if the World Series was once every 4 years, and oh, by the way, it's international, right? Like, we have one shot to not embarrass ourselves at the house and do so in a way the fans get to go. I get to go to I can afford a World Cup in the United States. And here's a team that is so full of talent, and yet Greg has not developed it at all. And you've just heard four voices: Carly Lloyd, Alexi Lawless, Clint Dempsey, and Hurt Gomez. And I'll tell you, I got more clips, and I'm going to circle back around to this one more time in the last hour of the show. Sorry about it. Deal with it. But you just heard four different people. And I didn't play the exact clips, for instance, from Carly Lloyd, but four different people who have all just said, if we want to be taken seriously, if we want to say that we are seriously a soccer nation, which we are growing towards no matter what the detractors say, if you want to be taken seriously, this is a point where you have to look at this manager and go, that was a complete, total, epic failure. It was a complete and total failure to not even get out of the group stage, a group stage in which you are very clearly at the worst, the second most talented team out there. And you couldn't even get out of the group stage because you collapsed on yourself. If we're a real soccer country, Greg Berhalter's got to go. It's not even like a fun, haha, funny, hashtag Berhalter out thing anymore. It's very serious now. He's got to go. He just took a team that has more talent than any American roster has ever had, and he's developed them into absolutely nothing. Undisciplined, lackadaisical, not just the passes, the buildup from the back is atrocious. Flo Balogun finally starts to show up. We sub him out in the last game when we needed a goal desperately. Like, I just don't understand it. It's not even complicated mistakes. It's just dumb stuff over and over. I'll come back to this later. We got a lot more to get to on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, live, and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. Dudes and dudettes. Yeah, I like, Steven, I want you to know, and I mean this, I didn't buy the tickets for the game in Charlotte. I came real close. Third place games in Charlotte. I was like, there's a chance the U.S. is there, right? There's a chance. And I'm usually a buy a ticket for a chance kind of guy. If there's a chance we'll be there and it's within driving distance, I buy a ticket just in case. Because even if they're not, you know you're at least getting a good contest, right? Two of the best, in this case, two of the best 4 soccer teams in the Americas are going to play there. It's going to be great. Couldn't do it because I'm like, no, there's Greg's going to blow it.
I don't come back, you know I got asked.
Or you axed somebody else.
That's right. Mellow is one of Justice Street and Greenville's West End. As live hosted team trivia every Tuesday night starting at 7. Compete for Mellow cash in our fun and funky digs while enjoying specials on amazing pizzas, apps, sandwiches, and salads. Tuesday is also pint night with all draft beer only $3.50. That's no trivial discount. Tuesday is trivia and pint night at the Mellow Mushroom.
You know what? It might be the cleaning crew cleaning the floor. Maybe that's what. I'm upset with Starfield because one of my favorite mods just crashed and it's gone. And it was all the lightsabers. Yeah, the sweet lightsabers. I had that thing Star Wars decked out and now the lightsabers are gone. I did find a dark sword though, so I at least have the dark sword.
Running the Talk is Jericho commercial.
No, that's weird. So did they move the odds?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, that's weird. I even have my companion wearing the whatever species that is that Ahsoka is. I always forget the name of it. But there's a hat that makes it look like they have that on and wearing her outfit. So I'm like hanging out with Ahsoka, and she's got darker skin, so she looks a lot like what's her name from the live action series? Just no lightsaber. Why do I forget her name? Rosario Dawson. That's it. Yay, I got there.
So proud of you. Nailed it.
Down it goes. New life in the next break.
New life in the next break.
Wow.
So we had a text earlier in the show from somebody named Corn Chip. We were talking about
It's a good Southern name, by the way.
It's a good one. It is a good one. We were having a conversation earlier about the Garnet Trust, the NIL Collective for South Carolina, hosting a wing eating competition for a number of football and basketball players over in Columbia. And we went down the road of discussing, have you ever sat at a table and watched somebody eat a chicken wing and not get all the meat off the bone? Ever seen that? To me, it's wildly frustrating. And again, I grew up in a happy plate household. You were ready to be done with dinner. You wanted dessert. Is your plate empty? That was the rule, right? And if it wasn't, then it got put in the fridge, and that was your breakfast the next day. Happy plate, or you're not, or you're not done. You're not done till that plate's empty, and you don't have to empty it right now, but you're not getting dessert, right? Because you're full. You're full. You're obviously full. How could you have ice cream if you're full? That doesn't make any sense, right? You want the ice cream, you finish your plate. And if you don't finish your plate, we don't waste food in this house. So it goes in the fridge and you'll eat it as leftovers tomorrow morning. And if you're not hungry for it in the morning, cool, go and eat. You have it for lunch when you're unfull and ready to eat again. So I think that's like, maybe that's why when people don't take all the wing or all the meat off the bone, like, it bothers me. It shouldn't, right? Shouldn't bother me at all. It's somebody else's plate of food. It's not mine. It's not like I'm going to go in there after them and finish the meat off for them, right? So, like, it shouldn't bother me, but it does. So then Corn Chip texted the show back. He said, what's the proper way to eat a wing? I feel like I leave meat on the bone, but it's not intentional. And I got to tell you, I started looking into kind of the different philosophies as far as wing eating. First off, the biggest question you got to ask: you a drums guy, you a flats guy, you a both guy?
I prefer drums, but I will eat. It's not like I go, I can't handle the flats are a little bit harder to eat. They are.
Flats take a little more work.
They do.
I'm 100% a drummy guy. All right. If I go to a restaurant,
you look disappointed that we agree on something.
No, not at all.
Not
at all. I'm glad we finally do. It's the first time this morning. I'm a big drummy guy. If I go to a bar and they offer wings and I can pay like $4 extra to have it all drummies, I'm doing that every time. I'm doing it every time. We'll pay you the extra $4 to have all drummies. However, if they don't offer that and they bring me drums and flats, I'm going bananas. If they brought me only flats, I'm still going bananas. Wings are delightful. Smoked, fried, breaded, unbreaded, seasoned, whatever you want, they're always good. There's never a bad wing. Lemon pepper wings from Magic City, still working on it. I'll get there eventually. All right.
By the time you do, they'll close. Well, maybe they'll.
No, they ain't
close.
closing.
Okay.
They do good business from what I understand. So the texter said, can't wait to hear you explain how to eat wings and keep it radio friendly. Challenge accepted.
Yeah, I'm waiting on this too.
Challenge
Because,
accepted.
I mean, especially when you're talking about flats, because there's something that you got to do to get unless you're a picker.
Challenge accepted. We'll start with the drummies. The drummies is easy, right? It's a tiny chicken leg. It's very easy. You take the bone, you dip it into your dipping sauce of choice, and I'll go ahead and tell you a great one. I'm a ranch guy. Fight me. I'm a ranch guy.
Why? I think most people are ranch guys. I don't know any blue cheese people.
Oh, not only do I know blue cheese people, I know people who get genuinely upset if you go ranch over blue cheese. Like genuinely upset.
Are these people upper crust fancy people?
No. Blue cheese, from what I believe is their point of view, blue cheese is the working man's dipping sauce.
No, it's like Grey Poupon.
I'm not saying I agree.
It's like Grey Poupon. It's fancy. If you're a blue cheese person, you believe you're fancy.
Blue cheese people don't believe that. They don't believe that. It is weird. Okay. But I'm a ranch guy. So you go, you dip the and by the way, you don't dunk the whole drumstick in there. All right. You just give you a little swirl on the side you're going to eat. Take that bite, flip the drummy over, get the other side.
Yeah, the ranch is there to accent, not to overtake.
Correct.
Yeah.
You do not dunk. You just give yourself just a little skim over the top. It is supposed to be an assistant, not the main show. Okay. Now let's get to the flats. The flats are
ranch
the
is like
issue.
the with and and of the yeah.
It is. The ranch is the producer to the host that is the wing. Okay. Lonzo said it, so I'm allowed to say it now. Here it is. Amazon guy texted the show and said blue cheese is the superior dip for wings. I'm telling you, the blue cheese people. See, here's the thing. If I go out and I get my ranch and somebody gets blue cheese, I don't care. Like, whatever, enjoy. Blue cheese
no
people
offense,
hate ranch
Amazon
people.
guy, but I bet you went to a private school. I'm just saying.
You are wrong about that perception, man. You're wrong about that perception.
Well,
which I get. You also think I'm a rich person, so.
Well, it's in comparison. We've had this discussion in comparison to what I was growing up. You would be considered rich anyway, and it's a golf course, dude. You can downplay it. It's still a golf course. As far as my perception is just that because I don't know anyone who prefers blue cheese. So I can only go by what I see on TV, by what I just believe that.
So when it comes to the flats, because this is the one that's challenged. What I see a lot of people do is dip the side of a flat and then hold it with both hands and not like it's corn on the cob. All right. And that's fine. It'll work, but you're going to leave a lot of meat that way because you got the two bones on the inside and there's meat all up in there. Right. So then you're trying to get that meat out from between the two interlocked bones.
I think in this case, we can do without the visuals. Do not go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X. You do not want to see this.
You got to get up in it, and it can be tough. Now you do have
Rob
the
might as
option.
well be on OnlyFans right now. I mean, he might as well be.
Amazon guy texted back. He said, "I went to Pickens, Lonzo."
All right, never mind. Although the new Pickens High School is very nice.
Haven't been there yet. You can, if you want, once you get all the meat off the two bones, you can then use your finger and kind of poke the meat out through the middle of the bone and then eat it off the other side. And that's fine, but there's a better way to do it. And this is real simple. All right. Before you dip into your ranch, your blue cheese, whatever your dipping sauce of preference is, if you take on both ends with your hands, just twist it. Okay. Just twist it. You're going to hear a pop because you're going to pop the cartilage on one side or the other of that bone joint. And once you loosen those bones by twisting them up a little bit, you can actually grab whatever side, and you'll feel which side came loose. Grab that, and if you pull, that bone will slide right out. And now all of a sudden, you're holding the other side, all right? You've got a bone and some floppy meat that you dip in the sauce and put in your mouth. And it's right there for you. So you hold the top of the wing, you twist, you pull the bone out, all right? You pull that bone out of there, and then you're left holding some floppy meat. I don't know why you're playing that. I'm describing how to eat a wing. Tiger Pal Rachel just wrote and said, blue cheese all day, and I grew up on Blue Ridge. So I told you, it's not your perception. I'm telling you, your perception is wrong.
It's still not changing, though. I mean, even though these people,
you're immediately getting people going, no, you're wrong. But I grew up in Pickens and Blue Ridge.
But it's my percent. We've had two people, dude. I mean, it's still a small sample size.
All right, blue cheese or ranch. There's the easiest way to do it. Blue cheese or ranch, and are you fancy?
All right,
and be honest about it.
All right, Diesel, Cole, ranch guys, right?
Diesel, blue cheese, Cole ranch. Text him and find out. Put together a group chat right now. I will not respond to the group, but put it in the group chat.
I don't like putting you on there because then we can't talk about you. But I'll do that.
That's fair. You do have the option if you see. I'll tell you who the fancy people are. You know who the fancy people are? It's not the blue cheese guys or the ranch guys. The fancy people are the people who cut their wings. And I do know one guy. I know a guy who fork and knife.
Small. How can you?
I know. I know one guy.
I mean, if you got a quarter, if you got a half a chicken, use your fork.
Yeah, dude. When I hit when I pick the Costco chicken up, yeah, I carve that thing up, right? If you carve a chicken, but I know one guy who fork and knifes their wing, and what he does, I've seen him do it. He takes that sharp knife, he cuts through the joint of the flat. And then he uses the fork to hold down the meat and then pull that. Exactly what I'm describing, but he uses it. So instead of twisting to pop one side, he cuts through that
British?
tendon. No, he's not. Not only is he not, but I just recognized he's a big redneck. Big redneck.
Wait a minute. You just recognized that he's a big redneck?
Because what I'm saying in my head,
Suddenly, Rob realizes that bull is redneck.
I wasn't thinking about it. All right. I wasn't thinking about it until I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's weird. Like you wouldn't think redneck goes fork and knife with the wing. Yeah. But he does. He goes knife through the tendon. Then he uses the fork to hold the meat down, and he puts the knife into the bone side, and he uses it to pull it out. It's insane. Texas said, flats only with ranch, use only one hand, dunk flat in ranch, and push the fingers to slide the meat down like a meat lollipop. So there you go. There you go. Diesel said, what's it going on? Wings. Only wings. Just say only wings. You got to know for wings. Back after this with Diesel and Cole's answer on the Rob Brown. Alex Guest just texted, said, I cannot stand blue cheese. I hate blue cheese. I find it gross. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Good life.
All right, guys. One more and be back. Stay right there for me.
Not from this planet.
Okay. April says blue cheese is blue cheese, and she says both, but she much prefers blue cheese and is a quote long way from fancy.
Diesel is giving lengthy explanation. He came.
It's a fair answer.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a nuanced answer. You know, I love me some nuance.
I get that it's situational. I don't think I've ever went, give me some blue cheese. And so,
certain things are better with different taste. I pick my wine based
I've had
on what
blue
I'm
cheese
eating.
on hamburgers before, on a fancy burger, but yeah. And it might have been the part of the burger that was the worst part. So, but I'm willing to take a chance on some of that stuff. So if you go to a burger place and it has all this stuff on it that you really like, but one thing you don't, do you take a chance on it or do you ask them to take that?
No, ask them to take it off.
I'm going to take a chance on it
As long
because
as you're not-
obviously they believe all those flavors
Yeah.
together work.
Well, when you say don't like, if it's the thing that I'm like, I just do not like this thing. No, I want it off. If it's something that I'm like, I'm unsure about this, then I will 100% leave it on.
One of those things where you go, that doesn't really go together, but let's see if I'm wrong. I mean, obviously they think it does enough to put it on a menu. It doesn't mean it's not the least ordered thing, but so like Chris and I do the same thing when we go somewhere. If they offer an egg on a burger,
Yeah.
we get it. And I love that. As long as you don't get it and the egg is not sunny side up, because then you're eating scrambled eggs on your hamburger. See if we got any more posts about them aliens.
We got aliens and dragons today.
I see the dragon thing. Oh, it's real, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I knew it.
For sure.
I knew it.
New dragons were real. Rolling on with the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, we gotta check in a bunch of different spots. All right, we got April who joined the stream. She said I can enjoy both blue cheese and ranch, but I much prefer blue cheese, and I am a long way from fancy. Shane says blue cheese people are weird. I'm gonna tell you, as somebody who does not care if you go blue cheese or ranch. It doesn't impact me. There are other food takes I have. If you order your steak over medium, you've wasted a steak, for instance. That's a hill I'm ready to die on. I don't care if you go blue cheese or ranch, but blue cheese people despise people who go ranch. Like they will say something, and it's weird to me.
Next time you're on the Upstate Pulse, we're going to have this hamburger discussion because Odie has the exact opposite opinion of you, and I would love to sit back and just watch you guys explain your sides.
Well, I actually want to hold that because that's a whole different
No,
discussion.
I know.
For
I'm just putting that invitation out there. Maybe 2-3 years from now, you'll come on.
Yeah, give me till like next, let's say August. I'll make my next appearance on the show. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
We asked Cole and Diesel. Diesel has responded so far. We said ranch or blue cheese. He said, what's going on that affects the decision? We said wings. He said ranch if it's on a saltier wing flavor, blue cheese for a sweeter flavor. The truth is you could never go wrong with ranch. You can easily go wrong with blue cheese, which is a nuanced answer that I very much appreciate.
I also want to give you my exact, because the answer was, the question was one or the other, but I prefer neither. If I have to use one, because I want to taste the flavor of whatever sauce or rub that I've chosen.
Texter said, I'll do wings in both ranch and blue cheese. There's a bunch of people who go both.
What, you double dip? You dip in one and then the other? Or
I actually do know people who will have them both on the plate and give themselves the option of going back and forth.
Yeah, but they don't do it on the same wing, right?
I got no idea. I can't say that one way or the other.
Okay, all right.
Can't say that one way or
Well,
the
you
other.
sound like you're pretty observant, so maybe you would have noticed.
I mean, I am observant when someone does something that is like obviously out of the norm. Like cutting your wings with a fork and a knife, that's going to jump off the plate. If somebody was going back and forth between dipping sauces, I think that would, like with the same wing, that would jump off the plate at me. I can't say I've ever seen anybody do it.
It was obviously not a communal
No,
sauce.
All right, first off, can we talk about double dippers for a second? Double
If it's
dippers,
your own,
knock it
if
off.
it's your own sauce, that's fine. If you got your own
if it's your
personal sauce,
that's fine. That is correct. If
What if it's family?
If it's like
What if
No.
your soon to be wife?
well, that is different
Why?
because I push our mouths together all the time.
Okay, yeah.
right?
So
That's one thing.
all right.
I don't want to double dip with my little brother or my nephew, right? Like I don't want to double dip with you or Odie.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
Exactly. If it is a communal dip, right? Like if
Yeah,
it's
but
a-
if you were at the fraternity house,
absolutely not.
you didn't. You didn't have to,
Absolutely.
okay.
No.
I mean, you're
No, this
probably
is
a little
not
more
a-
loose then.
This is not not at
Okay,
all. This is
right.
not a new thing. It's very much up there with the put your damn shoes on when you're at work feeling.
I'm not gonna throw my feet up in the air right now because I might fall down. So, but
If you have no shoes on, I hope you do.
I don't have any shoes on. For the majority of
Put your shoes on. You're an adult.
for the majority
This
of
is not a daycare.
for the majority of spring and summer, and we've had this discussion before, and I'm not the only one. There, probably, I don't know, some days 60-70% of the people in this,
It's not 60
building.
or 70%.
yeah.
It's you and at most two other people. At most.
How many people are here right now? I mean, come on.
All the people downstairs, none of them are rolling around
They don't-
shoeless.
we're talking about upstairs, downstairs. We're the product.
Be an
they
adult,
need to
put your
sell
shoes
us.
on at work.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Put your shoes on at work.
To
You're
be
not
an
a child.
adult, wear a real shirt.
You're not a child.
What's being an adult? Turn your hat around straight. I mean, come on, dude.
Put your shoes on. Put your shoes on. All right. We do have a lot more we need to get into. I am going to do one more soccer segment in the next one, but there are some other notes. We talked about the home run derby change of rules. Oh, here's one I did need to bring up to you. It is official. CJ Spiller being inducted into Clemson's Ring of Honor. That one is official. CJ Spiller from Lake Butler, Florida, joined Clemson as a running back in 2006, had a stellar career that resulted in his induction into the College Football Hall of Fame back in 2021. His second year on the ballot, he got in. The two-time All-ACC selection set the NCAA record for career kickoff returns for touchdowns with 7, had 7,588 career all-purpose yards, which still ranks third in NCAA history. That total remains an ACC record and ranks first all time amongst power conference players. As a senior in 2009, Spiller was a unanimous first-team All-American, included a first-team selection as a kick returner and second-team selection as a running back.
By
Spiller
the way,
also
one of the only autographs that I have on the wall in there is from
It's a good
CJ
one.
Spiller, but it was done out of sarcasm. So, I mean, that's fine.
It's a good one to have, sarcastic or not. Spiller also became the first player in ACC history to record more than 1,000 rushing and 500 yards receiving in a season. Set an ACC record for all-purpose yards with 2,680, a mark that still stands today. Finished 6th in the voting for the 09 Heisman Trophy, and frankly, I remember that one being a little bit low. Was also an All-American in track in the 08-09 season. It was a member of the 4x100 meter relay team that finished 3rd in the nation. Would go on as a first-round draft pick by the Buffalo Bills in 2010, spent 8 years in the NFL, was named to the Pro Bowl in 2012 in recognition of his more than 1,200 rushing yards that season. And I will also tell you, he spent a brief period of time as a New Orleans Saint, and I freaking love this dude. I will also tell you that he's in my Hall of Fame book because the 2 times that I have gone up to Clemson and CJ Spiller has been there. He's a genuinely nice guy, genuinely good dude. We've done a couple of interviews with him over the years, and I will tell you, and I'm not like at media day, these guys show up and they know the gig, right? The gig is you got to talk to every one of these dorks with microphones that showed up today. You got to show up and you got to look into their stupid little cameras and give all the good things about how amazing you are. And as a radio dude whose job is to go collect interviews, like, you get the vibe when a guy doesn't want to do an interview. CJ was one of the coaches that will walk up to you. Be like, what's up, bro? How you doing? You good? How's life? Everything all right? And we'll just have that whole conversation with you, just as a guy, right? And then it's, you mind if I grab you for 5 minutes for an interview? Absolutely. Let's go. I got as much time as you want. I think the first year I was, 2021 was the first year I went up there. Or maybe was it 2021? Maybe 2022. I think it was 2022 that I went up there. But when I went up there in I'm going to say 22, and CJ was there, he rolled up and we talked for a few minutes. And I said, can I grab you for $5? And he goes, I got time, man. I got time. And we sat there in the golf simulator talking to CJ Spiller. And I will say, like, I selfishly start off the interview, but during the interview, got into his time in the NFL, right? Like, got away from Clemson, started talking about him, his time in the NFL with Buffalo. Told him, big Saints fan, loved watching you return kicks for New Orleans, man. You were one of the most electrifying kick returners to ever put on the Fleur de Lis. He told me some stories about some of the guys he played with down there. Like, just a stellar dude. Happy for this guy, because while I know being a college football Hall of Famer is something that, it's an elite group that gets in, I have no doubt that having his name and number put up on the wall in Death Valley is probably something that he is every bit as proud of. So good to see Jay Spiller, man. Like, he is one of those cats that I've had the fortunate opportunity to meet him, and just a good dude. I just like him as a guy. Good dude. So good on CJ Spiller. Congratulations. Good on Clemson for putting him there. All right. We got 1 hour of the show left to do. I got to tell you, there's a broadcaster that towards the end of last week earned my admiration in a way. When you're a play-by-play guy, you don't necessarily often want to call out people in the stands, call out members of the paying audience. But one baseball announcer did so, and I think he had every right to do it. And he did it nationally, and I loved it. We're going to talk about that coming up in the next hour of the show. Jim Schlossnagel, remember him, former Texas coach that admonished a reporter one day for asking him if he was going to leave, and then the next day he left. Remember him? Somebody went and compiled famous last words of coaches into an article, and I had so much fun reading it this morning. I'm going to bring it to you as well. All that is coming up after Lonzo reads this sports flash in a way that very well might win him a Marconi.
Marconi, who the heck is that? The Atlanta Braves started 3 games set today with the San Francisco Giants after taking 2 of 3 from the Pittsburgh Pirates at home, including a win over potential NL Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens. Ronaldo Lopez will get the start, looking for his 7th win over the year opposite Hayden Birdsong, who has started just 1 game this season. First pitch is at 7:20 this evening in Atlanta. The United States men's soccer team was bounced from the Copa America following a 1-0 loss to Uruguay last night. A very controversial set of officiating decisions didn't help the Americans, who allowed Uruguay a dozen shots and a goal, including the one that would be the game winner. Make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Dees will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, whole lot of fun, and it's all, as you probably guessed, Wire to Wire. Let's go, Peter. Come on.
I'm talking cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. They've helped so many people here and tens of thousands more around the country. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief. with no downtime. This is the future of medicine. Call for a free consultation now. 864-448.
So I talked to Charlie about Garden Party. He has no idea. So apparently you're the foremost expert in Garden Party. That's not comforting.
I'm not upset by that.
And let me tell you about our life so far. I'm looking now, like initially, I'm now within about 5 pounds of my.
Call 800-973-7809. Again, 800-973-7809.
When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere.
Oh. Someone was just moved to the alumni section of the WWE website.
Who would that be?
Tell you or save it.
Huh?
Ricochet. You asked me.
Yeah, but that's not why. That's not why he's. It's
Well,
still
you can leave it.
no, still taking it off. Everyone's saying he's going to AEW. That he's a free agent now.
That's what.
Yeah. Why did I think that it wouldn't ruin something for me?
I don't know. That's why I didn't say the name.
But why even owe? Because if you owe, I'm going to ask why you're owing. That was weird.
Hang on, I gotta let it reset.
Nice.
Yeah, it is.
I'm due for a new wallet.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, that's still short. All right, that's short by a lot. Oh well, what can I do? All right, not short by a lot, short by 5 seconds. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it today. I was ready for it.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Yeah. Oh, I can do
Big
it.
Daddy, how you doing?
It hurt a little bit.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Been better, been worse, Corey. Been better, been worse. Appreciate you asking. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The fourth final hour of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate starts right now. Great to have you. I am Rob Brown, the Groupman Lonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. Be a part of the radio broadcast. The renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone is open at 844-326-3663. The text line is open, 71307-71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the radio program. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and tweet everybody at The Fan Upstate. And, of course, come join the live stream. We got Trey and other Trey and Mac and James and April and Shane and Steven and Keegan. And we used to have Dennis, but he hates fun, so he left. But everybody else is still hanging in here, having a good time.
Did he really leave?
I mean, he hasn't said anything else since he said he was leaving to go listen to
a show that's on in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty stellar. Pretty stellar. Anyway, Texture says, Rob, what's your thoughts on sriracha and ranch dipping sauce combined? That's from Scotty at BMW. Scotty, I'm going to be straight up. I have never once thought of trying that, and now I will. Never once thought of trying that. And I will say this. If you go to the grocery store, one of the dressing making organizations has started making ranch flavors like bacon ranch, jalapeno ranch, southwestern ranch. And I'm in for them, to be honest with you. I saw a new one last night. I had to go up to the store last night to get some shredded lettuce. We were making our lean turkey tacos. So I had to go get some lettuce for them last night. And last night, Lonzo, this particular ranch manufacturing company, they have apparently rolled out Cheez-It flavored ranch.
That sounds excellent, by the way. A couple weeks ago, tried the Cheez-It taco stuff. Have you tried Taco Bell?
I have not.
They're really good. There's a crunch wrap with a giant Cheez-It in it. And there's also, I think it's a tostada with a giant Cheez-It shell. You should give it a shot.
Speaking of tostadas and available taco restaurants, here's a story that leans right into that. U.S. Olympic trials going on right now, right? We got all the different sports trying to figure out who's going to go carry the stars and stripes into Paris, France, when the Olympics get underway in a couple of weeks. 3 weeks now? One of those Olympians is Kendall Ellis. Kendall Ellis is a sprinter. She's a racer. She's a runner. She's a tracker, whatever you want to call her. Kendall Ellis was getting set to run the 400-meter dash, her sport of her event of choice, to get to the Olympics. Kendall Lewis, 1 hour, less than 1 hour, before her semifinal at the U.S. track trials, was trapped in a porta potty, banging on the door and screaming for someone to let her out. After some amount of time, someone eventually did. All she did was go on less than an hour later after being trapped in what I have to imagine is the worst place on earth to be trapped, a porta potty at a major public event.
So I watched her run this, and if I recall, the announce team mentioned that she was trapped in a room. They did not say porta potty. And that are there laws in national TV where you can't say porta potty?
I do not know.
Because that would have made it even more significant. Trapped in a porta potty. I mean, those things are small and they don't smell nice.
No. According to Eddie Pells from the Associated Press, less than an hour before her semifinal at the U.S. track trials, 400-meter runner Kendall Ellis was trapped in a porta potty, banging on the door, screaming for someone to let her out. Thankfully, somebody did. She won that race with an all-time personal best time, then came back the next day to top that mark and win the final, along with the national championship and the spot in the Olympics that come with it. She said, quote, "Crazy things happen right before something great is about to occur. So maybe I needed to get all the nerves and adrenaline out." Apparently wasn't the only thing she was getting out before she went and ran that race. The 28-year-old was considered a relay specialist. She will go to the Olympics to compete for an individual title after running a 48.91 in the semi, marked her first personal best in 6 years. She beat it by another 0.3 of a second the next day in the championship round. And the only thought I had was, I was at the U.S. Open a couple of weeks ago up in Pinehurst, number 2. Pinehurst Village, North Carolina. And I will tell you that this is golf. This is golf. This is a gentleman's sport. This is one of the few sporting arenas that even Rob Brown brings a bit of decorum and etiquette to the event, right? I mean, I was still shotgunning beers up on the 11th, but like, you bring some degree of decorum
That's
and
why
etiquette.
you went to Cotillion so you could go to golf.
Correct.
Outings. Yes.
Correct. I even buttoned my top collar button while we were there.
Look at that.
All right. Very, very swanky, very fancy. Towards the end of the day, as Joey B and I were prepared to get up out of there, I decided, you know what? We got about a 20-minute bus shuttle ride back to the parking lot. Traffic on the way out is going to be chaos. I probably should go ahead and use the old restroom before we got out of here, which were porta potties. And I will tell you that in the thousands of years, or at least it felt like thousands of years because of some of the porta potties that I have been forced and obligated to go into. Dude, I lost my faith in humanity in a porta potty. Like, I walked in there and saw the disaster that human beings made and then left at the porta potty at the U.S. Open.
Come on.
And immediately was
compare
like,
that to what we see down the hall every once in a while.
Dude.
Really, worse than that.
Not worse than that. I forgave those people based on what I experienced in those porta potties. There was one that there was remnants of a solid waste deposit on the inside of the door the door, which if you've ever been in a porta potty, you know is on the opposite side of where the fecal matter is supposed to be deposited. On the door, there was a skid mark. Explain that to me. Anybody, explain to me how it got there. There's only two options. One, somebody wiped with just their hand, or two, they turned around, bent over, and went cheeks to door and did it intentionally. Either way, what?
Possibility of a child who didn't quite make it and they're trying to move them over after they close the door, and the child, I mean, you know.
Then don't bring your kid in public.
Okay.
If the result that your child,
public, they were like inside of a space where public couldn't see,
that the public has to use to do a mandatory necessary life function. If it was a kid, that kid needs to not be in public anymore.
Gotta say, that's one of my big concerns about the concert coming up.
Oh, dude. Man, like, I genuinely walked out of the porta potty area at the Open and immediately was like, I'm team giant meteor now. We deserve it. All right. We deserve it.
Wow. That's fatalistic. I don't want to die. Don't do that.
Dude, you would have if you went in one of these porta potties. Genuinely. Like, Rob Brown's not adverse. Like, if I'll use a tree. Okay. I'll use a tree.
Oh, you're a dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I use a tree. Ain't no shame. Ain't no shame in the game. All right. I'll use a tree. I'm not going to say, I've never been out in the backyard with the dog. Dog's not quite done to be in the business. And it's like, all right, well, I'll do mine while we're out here too.
Don't hug the tree after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't.
All right. Yeah. I'm not averse to it. I'm a gross man, just like a majority of our listening audience. I'm not above it. But man, the war crimes that were committed, and this young lady got trapped in a porta potty, which I can't imagine the horror. Got trapped in one, and then all she did was come out and immediately earn a natty and a trip to the Olympics.
But think about it. You're trapped in there. All you're going to want to do is run away from it. So, I mean, it's a perfect sport for her after being trapped.
I guess. You
run away from the smell. You run away from the thought. You're running away from the memory. I mean, a lot of things to run away from.
I guess, man. Like, you look at it and you just imprint that on your brain and then give it arms and legs. And when the starting pistol goes off, imagine you're running from the inside of an anthropomorphic porta potty. And I bet I would have made the damn Olympics. Hey, let's go to another story real quick, because I feel like I've used all the jokes about that. A couple of days ago, the New York Mets were taking on the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. And there was a Mets fan there when Mets catcher Francisco Alvarez came to the dish in the fifth inning. Alvarez went Nakahoma out to center field. New York was down 6-0. The ball found its way to a fan in a Mets cap and jersey in left center, picked it up as you would if you're an away fan who gets an away team dinger, right? That's a prized possession now. I don't accept it. Holds that ball up in the air and starts screaming, "Let's go Mets." Why wouldn't you, right? You're down 6-1. Who cares? You just had a moment that so many of us have begged our entire lives for, right? Well, the Cubs fans around him started chanting throw it back, throw it back. And the coward did it.
Fly ball, deep left field. Looking up is Pete Crow Armstrong and Francisco Alvarez for the second straight day with a solo home run, and the Mets are on the board.
This is why you got to stay with it when you're at Wrigley Field. Anything could happen. Any ball hit in the air today has a chance to go out.
Wow. They made him. That is, you know what? That is too much peer pressure. Grow a spine, man.
Obviously not a leader.
Wow. Wow. What a burn.
Obviously
Dude,
not a leader.
You gotta clip that. You gotta clip that part.
Already did.
Okay.
Already
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Didn't have time to put it onto the board. Already clipped, my guy. He said, obviously not a leader. Grow a spine, bud. That's not just brutal, Lonzo, and it is, but not just brutal. It is on top of that accurate. 100% accurate.
All right, so you've many times on these airwaves talked about how you haven't got a fly ball, a foul ball, whatever in the outfield. Would you throw it back?
No, hell no.
Okay.
Hell
All
no.
right. All right.
Are you kidding me? If I catch one.
He may not be on your team, but he's still a famous guy from another team.
No,
Yeah.
it was from his team.
Was
he
it?
was an away team fan who caught an away team dinger
Wow.
from an away team player and then let the Cubs fans peer pressure him into throwing it back. The only thing they would have got from me is one bird, because I'd have been using the other hand to hold that ball.
I think the way you hold
I'd have
it,
helicopter birded him.
I think you probably could still find a way to bird while holding the baseball. I'm pretty
Toss
sure.
the ball in the air, double bird them while
Well,
it
I mean,
floats,
while hanging-
and catch it on the
While
way down.
hanging on to the ball, you could still put a finger up. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
I grabbed my phone to test the theory. Theory's correct. I absolutely could.
Well, you really didn't know if you could. The ball's round. And
Yeah,
you
I know,
could-
but like, is it like, does the middle family? I'm doing it off camera here because I'm classy and this is a family friendly show. Stop taking your kids in public if they can't not poop on a door. Like I had to test it out because I didn't know if like the middle finger would extend long enough to give the impact
on.
of just how much I needed every home team fan to get it in that moment. Listen, I'm the dude.
Maybe not if you were like Kenny Pickett or something, but I mean, you're fine. You should be able to do that.
I'm the dude. Wait a minute. I got a baseball right here. Hang on.
I thought we had one in here somewhere. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, 100%. All the impact.
Sorry, stream. He won't do it for some reason on stream. I don't know why. Just to prove that it's possible. That's not the, yeah. See, he was able to extend the finger and you guys got to see it and no one else did.
So all I'm saying is these Mets broadcasters who took a little flack deserve none. They're absolutely right.
Really?
That
They
is
said
gutless.
something to them about that?
From what well, they were taking it like on social media, like the social media world was like, man, you gotta call a guy out for living up to it. Because the baseball tradition is if you are a home team fan and you catch an away team home run, throw it back, throw it back. And I will tell you, I probably would do that, right? If it was, unless it was like, you know, if it was an Aaron Judge home run, I'm hanging on to that. Because if that turns out to be home run number 35 of 63, and he goes on to break the AL single season record for dingers that year, then I want number 35 that I can verify and go back and auction that thing off and make a bunch of money. Because yes, that's the game, right? That's the game. But if it's like, I don't know, if Oswaldo Cabrera hits one, and I'm a home team fan that catches an away team home run, out of deference to the tradition of baseball, I'd probably throw it back. But I promise you, if I'm a Braves fan and I'm at, I don't know, Nationals Park, and Matty Ice Ice Baby Olson sends one yad, and I catch it, it ends up in my hands, and the Nats fans start hitting me with a throw it back chant. No. I do have a spine, and I am a leader. Not only am I holding that ball, I am holding the double birds up proud Well, I'm stone cold Steve
I don't know.
Austining everybody in the stands.
A lot of fights breaking out lately in stadiums, so you're probably going to get some hands if you do that.
Make sure that baseball's tucked deep down in the pocket and then bring it.
You should know your role and shut your mouth.
I am putting birds up on both sides of the body and spinning around like an Apache helicopter, letting everybody know how I feel about it. Every one of them. All right, let's take a break. I may or may not do one more soccer segment.
Whirly birds.
I like it. Okay, what are they going to do? Assault him? Exactly. I promise you.
Yeah, they probably would. I mean, there's a lot of fights in baseball lately in the stands.
Chicago. The ACC and ESPN have requested that Clemson move its home game against South Carolina to Friday night, which would make it on Black Friday. Ooh, how do we feel about that? Talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Saw that. Spida's the only reason they made it where they made it last year. TBH. All right, guys, give me 45 seconds. I'll be right back.
He's got other things that he does. So
Keegan, Chris Lewis texted me that earlier, and I'm going to bring that up in the next segment too. We'll do a quick thing on the South Carolina Clemson game because apparently Clemson took about 20 minutes to say, no, we're not doing that. I made the realization yesterday on BetQL that I think tennis is the one sport that I tennis and lacrosse, the two sports, but nobody ever talks lacrosse. I think tennis is the one sport that I can tell you I could not do a competent Wimbledon segment this week. It's on, it's underway. I couldn't do it. I had to put together like 4 questions for an interview yesterday with a tennis gambling expert. And I basically just asked about like the 4 most well-known players on planet Earth. And that was it. I had to be real honest with myself.
Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone. All thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper Heavy Duty Dry Cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try.
no, why did I even see that? Sorry, kid. I'm the Ether Bunny, and it's the bunny with the. Why? Why do people post stuff like that?
Got a couple of segments left here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. We talked very briefly about it on the way out there. The Atlantic Coast Conference and ESPN requested of Clemson, not mandated nor directed, but requested that the Clemson Tigers move their home contest against the South Carolina Gamecocks to the Friday night after Thanksgiving on Black Friday. Court documents obtained by TigerNet pertaining to the school's lawsuit against the conference in its effort to break the grant of rights revealed the conference and ESPN made the request. The conference asked Clemson to move the game scheduled for the November 30th, that is a Saturday, to a Friday night primetime game on ESPN. They go on to drop a little history here. The rivalry game was played on Thursdays until 1959, when President John F. Kennedy was shot in 1963. The game was postponed a week and played the following Saturday. From the first time the two schools met in 1896 to the 1959 meeting, Clemson and South Carolina played in Columbia during the week of the state fair. The first 57 meetings were played on the third Thursday of every October. Thanksgiving, later than usual this year, will be observed Thursday, November 28th. Apparently, the league and ESPN agreed to several concessions regarding Clemson's future scheduling. That a November 23rd game versus the Citadel would be scheduled at noon. Confirmed primetime game for the Friday, November 29th game. Agreement to switch the scheduled 2027 Labor Day Monday conference game featuring Clemson and NC State to a Clemson home ACC game. A limit of 2 road ACC games in 2024 played in prime time, and an agreement that the University of South Carolina will reciprocate with hosting a future v. South Carolina game on another Black Friday. The league said that despite having secured these concessions and despite other ACC teams having agreed to play on Black Friday in previous instances, i.e. Georgia Tech versus Georgia, Florida State versus Florida, etc., Clemson declined to move the game. In an email from the ACC to Clemson Athletic Director Graham Neff, Michael Strickland, the Senior Associate Commissioner for Football, wrote, quote, "As has been indicated to you during this process, the conference office is disappointed in Clemson University's lack of cooperation on this matter. As all ACC members know, it is incumbent upon the ACC and its institutions to work in good faith with ESPN on football scheduling issues. This cooperation maximizes the value of our relationship with our media partner and strengthens our collective future. Clemson's decision not to do so in this instance is harmful toward that goal. With regards, Michael Strickland." Remember very long time ago in the last segment where I talked about doing the old helicopter double bird? Clemson to the ACC. Yeah, bleep you guys. You're suing us. It doesn't matter that we sued you first. We don't want to go to this school no more. We don't want to be here. Why would we make life easier on you? Why would we not go out of our way to make it more difficult on you? Why would we do anything to make you more money when making less money helps us not help you make money at all anymore? Sooner rather than later, fingers crossed. Of course they said no to this.
So this thing used to be on Thursday a bunch, and I remember people talking about this when I moved here a very long time ago, and how that was tradition. So there are a lot of people living now that weren't around then, and they don't realize it was tradition. This I didn't think about that angle that you're saying towards ESPN. I thought maybe they just might be afraid of South Carolina.
I mean, they still got to play them.
They do.
I'm not asking
they
to
do.
cancel.
Yeah,
the game.
but if you're going to lose to the Gamecocks after a mediocre season, you don't want to do it in prime time. You want it to be buried on Saturday, where all the real rivalry games are, and that way people won't notice.
I mean, I very much like the aspect of the answer you're going with here.
Football's like a month or so away.
Yeah, no,
So,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it. I'm here for it.
It's like jogging before trying to get back in shape before you're ready to go full on sprint when it hits here.
Got to be in the zone, man.
Yeah,
got to be in the
absolutely.
zone. Yeah, of course they made a decision that is harmful toward the goal of working in good faith. They are mad at ESPN. They are mad at the ACC. They don't want to be in the ACC. And ESPN paying the ACC is the only reason the ACC won't let them leave the ACC. So, of course, they said no.
So,
Duh.
so they don't want their team to be spotlighted in a national game on a Friday, on Black Friday. Why would you not want that?
I just told you. Because it would make the ACC more money, and they don't want to do that. It's very simple.
How's that make the ACC more money if you're watching it on TV?
You get paid more for primetime games. The number any game, if they stick that game on a Friday night, because there are some Friday night games, but it would absolutely be, especially if South Carolina somehow pulls a miracle season out of their butt, then it would be one of the more viewed primetime games. And what does the ACC then turn around and do? They include that number in all of their sales talking points moving forward. And they can continue. Whereas if Clemson keeps and Florida State and Miami and whoever, North Carolina, whoever wants out, their goal, that's why I'm kind of interested that Florida was mentioned in this mix. And I am going to acknowledge I'm working on an assumption here, but it feels like a pretty good one for me. My assumption is if you're Clemson, you want to keep the ACC's revenue to an absolute minimum, and that includes keeping their television eyeballs to a minimum, because here is the reality. If that game's on Saturday, if it's on the Saturday after Black Friday, if that is on rivalry day, yeah, it's a buried game. Especially if the Vegas over-under win total is correct. And let's say South Carolina comes into that game sitting at 5-6, right? Like maybe it gets a little more attention if it's like Clemson's got to win this game and to stay in the top 12 and have a playoff spot. But realistically speaking, unless you are a Gamecock fan or a Tiger fan, nationally, this game is likely going to have no meaning. I suspect the game is going to have meaning this year, right? I would suspect Michigan, Ohio State's going to have a lot of meaning this year. I suspect multiple of the SEC's rivalry weekend games this year are going to matter, are going to have an impact, are going to have weight to them. Respectfully, I don't think Clemson v. South Carolina holds any weight at all to a national audience. So, yeah. If you put it up against all the other rivalry games, nobody cares, nobody watches.
So many people who believe that their team is the center of the universe, and you should. It's your team. But it's not
right.
Really.
Again, to you, it's the most important game of the season. But outside of this area, it's just not. It's a great rivalry. It should all, from what I've experienced, even when it's not been much of one, it's a great rivalry, and it should always be spoken of that way. But on a national scale with a 12-team playoff in place, this game is likely not going to mean anything to the national landscape of college football. So if the goal for Clemson is to hide this game so that ESPN doesn't get a bump up in numbers, which they would on a Friday night, of course, Clemson said no to this.
Yeah, but would they? I mean, you just talked about how it's not that important outside of the state. Would they really get a bump in ratings if you put this on Friday night?
Yeah, because what other games are Friday night, right? Like what other games are going to feature an SEC team on that Friday night? I don't know what the Black Friday schedule looks like yet. All right, I don't know what it's shaping up to be, but I'm gonna be willing to guess that Clemson, South Carolina would that weekend be one of the more attractive Friday night games. Let's go look and see what they've got lined up on that Friday night so far. Here's your list of games on Friday, November 29th. I know the Egg Bowl is every good. I know that game's Friday. That game's always Friday. Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Could that one have some impact? Maybe it does. A lot of people think Ole Miss is the top 10 team this year. Mississippi State's, they've been back for 100 years. Here's the other games that Friday, Lonzo. Miami of Ohio, Bowling Green. Ball State at regular Ohio. Minnesota at Wisconsin. Oklahoma State at Colorado. Mississippi State at Ole Miss, Liberty at Sam Houston, Texas State at South Alabama, Georgia Tech at Georgia, Nebraska at Iowa, Utah at UCF. Clemson, South Carolina is probably the third most attractive game on that schedule.
Yeah, so technically it's I mean, they're rivalries that day, but it's more of a regional thing. I think if you like the Big Ten, you're watching the Big Ten game. If you like the SEC, you're watching all that. But I don't know.
I think that being,
I'm listening, thinking that if any of those games are going to be relevant in the scheme of things, maybe if Georgia Tech were to upset Georgia, maybe.
Okay.
I know. Okay. I'm just saying it's always a possibility.
Let's
it's
put
unlikely.
Let's put it this way. If Georgia Tech's up on Georgia in the fourth quarter, everybody's running to it.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Nobody, I think, is going out of their way for Georgia Tech, Georgia. Right? Like, who cares? They're going to get beat by 50.
I was talking about
I love Brent Key, by the way.
Relevancy as far as into the season, a game that would matter. That's probably the only, because Georgia's probably going to be right there.
Georgia's going to be in the top 2 or 3.
So if they were to lose, that would be a big deal.
I mean, if Nebraska does what Matt Rule thinks they're going to do, Nebraska, Iowa could actually be interesting. All right. Like that. It really could be, because a lot of people think this is the year the Matt Rule takes that step in Nebraska. I don't know if that's true or not, but Iowa was right there in the mix in the Big Ten last year. Right. So like maybe that has some weight to it. Utah, right? They got, what's his name? Cam Rising coming back this year. Like maybe Utah's in the mix at UCF, and we know UCF loves to upset some big dogs, like maybe. But I would make the argument that by that point, Colorado will have lost most of their games. Nobody's going to care about Oklahoma State at Colorado. Like Liberty could be a threat to be the fifth champion. Like maybe Liberty gets some attention at Sam Houston, but I doubt that. I think Clemson, South Carolina would likely be, at the worst, the third most attractive game on that Friday night. And if it's going prime time, there's only 3 games in the late prime time slot right now. Georgia Tech at Georgia, Nebraska at Iowa, Utah at UCF. So if it was the worst game in that slot, it would be the 4th most watched game of the day. That next Saturday, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Florida State, Louisville, Kentucky, Oklahoma, LSU, Arkansas, Mizzou, Texas A&M, Maryland, Penn State, Washington, Oregon, Notre Dame, SC. Like all of these games I'm mentioning on a national scale, all of these games that I am mentioning, I'd be willing to bet 90% of them, if not 100% of them, have more weight and more importance than South Carolina Clemson would. So, no, I'm not. If I'm Clemson and I'm trying to get the hell out and I'm trying to injure the ACC in order to make that, to accelerate that process, no, I'm not going to be the, at worst, 4th, probably closer to 2nd or 3rd most attractive game on a Friday, when I could be the 17th most attractive game on a Saturday and decrease the amount of eyeballs on that product dramatically. Of course they said no. Obviously they said no. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
WWE collectible cup. Me too. Me 3. Me 4. Get the WWE
Did Bojangles just give us a New Day reunion for a commercial?
I sent it to you, by the way. Do you recognize who the Me 4 is?
Me too. Me 3. Me 4. Get the WWE and Bojangles
I do not.
He's been on the show.
Was it truth? My man.
Wearing a New Day shirt, too.
My God. That should have been the easy guess.
The fact that, so that's why it was trending earlier, but it's since I played it, I can't talk about. Big E was trending. I was wondering why, and that's why. It's just it's such a tease.
Yeah. Joey B, my thought would be if Clemson's attractive to the Big Ten in the SEC, they're already attractive, right? Like doing a number for that rivalry game. Let me phrase that. The priority for Clemson is injure the ACC enough that they can justify breaking it. Because remember, the argument from Clemson and Florida State in these lawsuits is that the Southeastern Conference, the Atlantic Coast Conference did not effectively do the best job that they could do maximizing profit for their members. And so they are arguing legally that they should have the right to leave because they could be making more money because the ACC did not argue in good faith to make as much as possible. And so they need the ACC's numbers, both real and potential, to stay down, which is why I think that they would pass up on having a primetime Friday game when most schools would go way out of their way to get one. It doesn't matter how attractive the B1G and the SEC believe Clemson to be if they can't leave, right? We can sit there all day and talk about how beautiful the supermodel is, but when she's dating the NFL quarterback, it doesn't matter. You don't got a shot.
Unless you're the NFL quarterback, then.
All right, I'll run through this real quick, and then we'll get another couple of segments in. Brandon says, yeah, right, you hurt big companies by hurting their pockets. It's the only way. And to be honest, even that's tough to do. But if you're the ACC, if you are Clemson fighting the ACC, it's kind of your only option here. It's kind of your only option is to do as much damage to the conference as you can to make them look as weak as possible and hope that somewhere a judge looks at this or a mediator looks at this and agrees with your argument. Remember, the legal arguments have been thus far that the ACC, very simplified, that the ACC did not in good faith negotiate to maximize profits for schools within it and then signed a way too long of a contract all the way till 2036. So they did not go get as much as they could. Remember, that was the whole thing about, who was it, Swafford's kid working for the CW, and it gets the contract to carry ACC material. And then when you know it, a couple of days later, promoted to a VP spot, gets a new sports car, corner office, yada, 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 the whole nine. So they kind of need the ACC to look as weak as possible. Joey B said, wouldn't those big Friday numbers make Clemson look more attractive to the Big E or the Big Ten and the SEC too? I mean, theoretically, right? But Clemson's already one of the crown jewels out of this conference. If there are schools wanted out of this conference, it is Clemson, it is Florida State, it is Miami, it is North Carolina. Everybody else would be a nice little bonus, right? And so if you are one of those schools, if you are currently one of those schools looking to get out, you're already viewed as attractive. Clemson's not going to be viewed as unattractive to those spots, right? They're just not. They're an attractive proposition of a potential member. And if that truly is the case, then I think your spot at that point has got to be, we've got to make these numbers as bad as we can, and playing on a Friday night as, at the very worst, the most attractive team, the fourth most attractive game that day. At the very worst. Realistically speaking, probably third, maybe second, depending on if Georgia Tech can in any way, shape, or form make it a game against Georgia. Spoiler alert, they can't. So, I don't know. My argument, if I'm the ACC, is that Clemson didn't act in good faith by not moving that game with a chance of an increased revenue. Yeah, I'm gonna go with it was requested of Clemson, not demanded, right? Like they had every right to say no. It's their schedule. They can say no to that. And again, you, Joey B, this is your world. You know better than I do here. I'm just an idiot with a microphone and a webcam. But I'm gonna say, I think in that spot that it was a request and Clemson has the right to say no to the request. Whereas Clemson's argument, and this is what, remember when the whole thing about the commission's kid getting a better job and getting a promotion and getting the upgrade and all that, when that story dropped a while back, I remember it very well. I came on the show the next day and said, this is a huge story. This is a huge story because this is, to me, this is the one thing that you are likely going to hear every school that's in a lawsuit with the ACC going, yeah, but look at this. Look at this. Look what happened here. Can you truly tell me that the ACC was arguing to get as much money for us as possible as a partner, as much money for us as possible as a member, when the commission's kids signed a deal with the commish, and then the commission's son got an immediate promotion in a corner office and yada, 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 right? I mean, kind of hard to prove, but it's a lot of circumstantial evidence right after a deal to put the ACC on, I believe it was the CW, was signed. May have been a smaller network. It was a smaller network. I think it was a CW. I do not remember. But the point here is that's pretty coincidental, I think, for that kid to be the guy who signs the deal with the conference and then immediately catch that promotion up a level, right? Like I honestly think that's heavy enough to hold up in that court argument. So we'll see. What I can tell you is that there is a hearing taking place in the Mecklenburg County Courthouse right now. The ACC v. Clemson has its first hearing that is underway officially. Graham Neff is in the courtroom, as is Clemson trustee David E. Dukes, along with several other lawyers. So John Blau is there. He is covering it. If you want to toss him a follow at John_Blau, JON_BLAU, he is going to be live reporting this. And once this is over, either towards the end of this week or next Monday, if they are done and John's not in a courtroom, we'll get John on the show to break down what he saw and what he heard with this whole thing. We'll see how it plays out. So there's that. Hey, the U.S., did you hear this? The U.S. lost a soccer game last night. Lost to Uruguay 1-0.
I was not aware.
No?
I don't really follow the game, though.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Berhalter was asked at a press conference after the game, are you the guy?
Just to see the guys' faces in the locker room, and see the emotion of the staff and players. We're bitterly disappointed with the results. We know that we're capable of more. And in this tournament, we didn't show it. It is really as simple as that. I think that, you look at the stage that was set with the fans in this tournament, with the high level of competition in this tournament, and, we should have done better. And, we'll do a review and figure out what went wrong, why it went wrong. But I think it's, it's an empty feeling right now for sure.
I really don't give a.
It's just not good enough. That's just all there is to it. It's just not good enough. It's not. It's just not good enough. It's tactical mistakes, and it's the same ones. It's an undisciplined team. Like I know a lot of people are trying to blame the loss last night on the red card against Timothy Weah in the Panama game. I have news for you. Joey B and I had this conversation. The South American and Central American teams make every match a street fight. And if they get a chance to come in and knock us off on our soil, it's just that much more impactful for them. They make it a street fight. They are going to poke, and they are going to prod, and they are going to push, and they are going to shove, and they're going to slap, and they're going to knee, and they're going to heavy tackle. They're going to do all those things in this game. And what they are banking on is for you to get caught. because you may have heard this before. The second guy always gets caught. Always. That's the rule. It is something that I ingrained in kids when I was coaching Little League. It is something that we still say to NBAers. The second guy always gets caught. So don't be the second guy. That was always my rule with my players. Look, if a dude gets physical with you and he shoves you out from underneath the basket or gives you a little extra pepper when he's boxing out, or if you go to the ground, if he kicks you on the way by, do not react in that moment. Do not, because you will be the one that gets caught and bounced from the game. Do not react. Wait 3 possessions and then do it. Wait 3 possessions before you give it back.
Yeah, he'll think that you're letting it go.
Yeah.
So, and then you can sneak him. Yeah.
Wait 3 possessions. If he pokes you in the rib when you go up for a board, wait 3 possessions and you do it back to him. Because not only are you getting it back, but then you try to make him the second guy, right? If Timothy Weah comes into this game so undisciplined that he doesn't understand that Panama's game is going to be to push and poke and prod and shove you around, waiting for you to retaliate and then dramatically sell like they're trying to win a freaking Emmy, then that's undisciplined from the coach. That's a lack of discipline from the coach to the team, and it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. And as I said back in the first hour of the show, we have the World Cup in less than 2 years. It is likely the last one of my lifetime. It's likely the last one of my lifetime. If they come around at the same pace, the next time that this event happens, I'll be in my mid-70s. Dudes in my family don't make it to the mid-70s. I'm aware of that. That's not fatalistic. That's just facing reality.
It's fatalistic. Stop it.
It's not. It's just
be the
reality.
exception.
So with all of that being said, yeah, I want to perform. I want to win. And this is our last chance to do anything like it. It's our last chance to do anything like it, and I despise it. Because at this point, losing that game was the one thing that would make moving on from Berhalter a possibility. It's the one thing, and it's happened. So now, will anybody in U.S. soccer have the rocks to make the move that needs to get made? Will anybody have the stones to go, we didn't meet our goals, we didn't even forget our goals, our expectations, not our goals. You should have expectations, and then your goals are beyond that. We didn't meet our expectations. Embarrassing. We didn't just meet them. We failed to come even close, and we regretted them. That's tragic. And if we just roll this into the World Cup, we will be embarrassed in our own house, and I don't like it.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Look at there. We're already at the end of the show. Time for What the X. We're asked Rob what the X is going on, and he will tell all of us why the first thing that's Xing yo is Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal, who of course is the star of Game of Thrones as Oberyn Martell.
He was in Game of Thrones?
Oh, he was exceptional in Game of Thrones. He was cool.
Couldn't get past the incest.
And then his head exploded.
Did it?
Yeah. The mountain got him by the head and squeezed until his head popped like a balloon. It was brutal.
I know who
it was
the
brutal.
Was,
Anyway, he is trending because everybody's like, the Acolyte's so bad, I would take another season of Mandalorian before I come back to this.
All right, that's not why he's trending.
Oh,
he
okay.
is trending because pictures are being posted of Gladiator 2. Did you know he was in it? I didn't, but he is.
He fits. He fits. By the way, is anybody having a better life than Pedro Pascal right now?
Yeah, he's in everything.
Is anybody having a better life? He's in comedies, he's in drama, he's in romance movies, he's in action flicks, he's in Star Wars, he's in Gladiator 2, a movie that I will be seeing the day it comes out because Gladiator was amazing.
He's in a beer commercial too. What is it? What's the
Corona?
Yeah, he's in
Corona Select, I think, like not just regular Corona, the good stuff.
Where he leaves the city through the jungle and there's a beach.
Pretty good.
All right, the next thing that's Xing is Lonzo.
Because Lonzo Ball has not signed an extension to remain with Chicago.
Actually, it's because people are making fun of the fact that he's available and no one's taking him.
Yeah, nobody's taking him.
Yeah.
I looked earlier today at a list of the top 10 remaining NBA free agents, and I do not think it is going to come to the shock nor surprise of anybody else that he's not on it. LeBron James is available, DeMar DeRozan, Miles Bridges, Buddy Hield, Tyus Jones, Malik Beasley, Sadiq Bey, Moritz Wagner, Kyle Anderson, Gary Trent Jr., Spencer Dinwiddie, all still available. Caleb Martin's out there. Gordon Hayward's out there.
There's still some major moves going to be made.
Oh, for sure. We're nowhere near done now, but now we're at a point where, hey, look at that. Pat Bev is still out there. Everybody wants a Patrick Beverly in their life, right? We're at the point now where now it's about moves that build the roster, not just get as much talent as you can.
All right. Mac on the stream says just announced
DeMar DeRozan going to LA. Which
LA? Yeah, that's what I was.
Which LA?
While you're looking that up, the next thing that's Xing is Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie is trending because a new Netflix movie with her just dropped.
All right. Max says Lakers.
Bang.
Yes.
That's actually really nice for LeBron.
It is.
That's actually really nice for LeBron. They got the best free agent available this morning. You pair him up with Braun as your outside threat. Braun gets to play more of the distribution role. I really like that for the Lakers, to be honest. Margot Robbie's trending because she's hot. That's all I got.
It's also her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Margot.
How old is she?
30.
Mm-hmm.
5.
Oh, so close. 34.
34.
She is 34.
She's my age.
No, she's not. She is within range, though. I mean, it depends on what you consider range.
That's true.
I mean, once you get out of
half your
30s,
age plus 8.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah, half your age
no,
plus 8.
As you get older, that doesn't matter. It's more about money. The last thing that's excellent, if you have money.
You know what they say about money? It's just a number.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, I don't know who they are, but they ain't got no money. All right. And finally, the White Six are exiting.
Monday Night Raw, baby. Have not watched it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Did they show up last night?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Don't tell me another word. Not another word. Is Chad Gable still dead? Because he got shot in the head?
No, he's
I'm just kidding.
back
I just wanted to
for-
say Chad Gable was shot in the head.
I can't say anymore.
Perfect. That's it for the show. Because I can't say anymore either. Because
Yeah, because we can't say, neither one of us can say anymore.
Y'all have a lovely rest of your day. Fire Greg Berhalter, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
I really don't give a.
Nailed it. What a show. What an absolute show.
I pushed it, but I didn't have the thing up to counter your potty
Your
mouth.
degeneracy.
Yes.
I'm just trying to keep people on the. I try to keep people on the.
They got DeRozan and Bronny. I mean, you forgot about Bronny. They got Bronny also.
Who runs the big man for them next year?
They ain't done.
I know Anthony Davis, but like who helps Anthony Davis? Who lets Anthony Davis? And James Charlotte got Josh Green.
Well, normal, isn't it?
Yeah, right. All right, boys and girls, that's it for us. Thank you guys for being here. You're all spectacular human beings. Please tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. Share it around on social media. Go to thefanupstate.com. Grab the podcast on demand. That's all I got. See you tomorrow for a Kind of Friday show. Goodbye.